longest race of the year. The big one, as they call it. The drivers of the SNB series presented by Appalachian Hauler Hunters are at America's home for virtual racing, the Charlotte Motor Speedway. And tonight is the longest race on the calendar. 300 miles, 200 laps. That's the equivalent of when the NASCAR Xfinity Series run the Alsco 300 on Memorial Day weekend here at Charlotte. They're going to do it here tonight on Virtual iRacing at Charlotte. Welcome to coverage on LSRTV, your home for sim racing. 3 races to go, 2 after tonight to the playoffs. I'm Samuel. I'm Wesley Outland. Samuel Dyer is alongside, is what I meant to say. I am Wesley Outland. Samuel Dyer is alongside from California to Carolina, and somewhere deep in the middle of the heart of Texas is Charles Wooten in the production booth. I am just not going to repeat what our hymns just said, but Samuel, Charlotte, a mile and a half. Should be a fun race. Going to be a long one, but it should be a good show here tonight.
Yeah, a long one for sure. 200 miles here for the SNB Cup Series at Charlotte. And this was one of the tracks last season that caused a lot of drama to build up for the drivers. And speaking of drama, we had a lot of it last week, Wesley, at Sonoma. And we had a lot of drivers having incidences and a lot of penalties were given out. The harshest one going to Tom Bourne. That 54 team has been parked for tonight's race and was docked 20 points. I think Tom Bourne's hopes for making the playoffs could have been snuffed out with his move that he made last week on Thomas Fisher.
Hey, we knew that was going to happen, though. We called a wild event at Sonoma last week. We didn't think it was going to be as crazy as it turned out to be. It was one for the ages, and definitely we knew that there was going to be some type of a penalty after what went down. We didn't know what it was going to be, but do you think the punishment fits the crime, Samuel Dyer?
Honestly, it does. And also on top of that, Thomas Fisher has been put on probation because of multiple incidences that have been happening throughout the season. So for the 92 car, he's going to have to stay focused and make sure he doesn't get caught up in any other incidences. Otherwise, he has a potential shot of getting points deducted even more than he did during the penalties, because that of Thomas Fisher, also that of Jacob Grant and Brockton Packard, all were given -5 points. Also will be given an EOL at the start of tonight's race. So you got a lot of drivers that need to stay focused, understanding last week tempers were boiling and things that were building up throughout the season, but now it's time to get your nose and get your head down and focus up, because the regular season is coming to a close.
Yeah, it certainly is. And let's take a look at the race 411 for tonight's event here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Bottom left of the monitor. Race on Texas. 30-minute practice session is already over. Qualifying is about to get on track here in just a couple of moments, and then they will go for 300 miles, 200 laps, and again, the longest race, the big one, the Coca-Cola 300 for the SNB Cup Series here tonight. Bottom right of the monitor, the Sawblade.com weather conditions. By the way, thanks to Sawblade.com, they are the proud sponsor of what is coming soon, the new Upper Edge Steel Block Modified Series, or the Big Block Modified Series. We'll have a lot more details on that coming soon. It is sunny right now, partly cloudy being showed, but the sun is out. 85 degrees, 90 degrees track temp, 5 degrees more than what the ambient virtual temperature is. Little wind blowing at 6 miles an hour, and there you go. So Samuel, again, this looks like it's going to be kind of a daytime into nightfall event. I don't know if it's going to be, say, solid dark when this race finishes here tonight, but I think the lights will cut on as we finally have cars on the racetrack and they are getting ready to qualify here at Charlotte.
Yeah, I do believe that we will be seeing it completely set by the end of this race. So the drivers are going to be seeing that evolution of how the track is going to be evolving with the sun setting, the track cooling off. With it being 90 degrees, the trucks are going to be, these cars are going to be slipping and sliding here tonight, but it's exciting to see who is going to be moving on, as last week, Caleb Smith won at Sonoma, locking himself in. He's going to be our 5th driver that's already locked in. Braxton DeWeese with his 5 wins so far this season, Ross Tatum, Jacob Grant, and that of Thomas Fisher. 5 drivers are locked in. We're waiting to see who else will be joining them as Wesley, qualifying's coming to a close.
Yeah, qualifying is just about done and over with here, so we will take a quick break. When we come back, Team 126 Racing starting lineup, and we get ready for the big one. 300 miles, 200 laps at Charlotte. It's next on your home for sim racing.
Look at that.
Look how wide that deer is.
Oh my god. Oh my god. He's down. He's down.
Hold him up first, huh? Can you hold him up? Son, what do you think about that? Give me some skin, buddy. Excited?
After me.
Let's take a look at the Team 126 Racing starting lineup back here in Charlotte as we await the lineup for the Coca-Cola 300. The Mountaineer Outfitters fast qualifier is going to be Evan Coleman of the number 51 machine. He will be on the pole in the 51. When he pops up screen, he's still missing there. To the outside, Matt Dyer in car number 88, your brother for CEM Motorsports, making up row 1. Matt Dyer, Charlotte owes him one. Could tonight be the night? Logan Breaking in the 2 car. To the outside, Jonathan Woods in car number 10. Row number 3 on the grid will find Kevin Martin in the 46. Best finish for him, a top 3 a couple of weeks ago. And Stamp it, Eric Stamp on the 69 to the outside, row 3. Row 4, the original series champion, Joshua Altus. No success in his career now since Daytona. He's in the 94. To the outside, Ross the Boss Tatum, car number 21. Winner of races this year in the playoffs. He is in the show. He's ready to go. Spencer Best in the 20 car and Robbie Helms in the number 18. Your top 10 here at Charlotte.
And row number 6 in 11th position, going to find that Robert Sherwood. Sherwood just needs a couple of more good, solid finishes for himself. He'll find himself into our playoffs. And then to his outside, that's when we find Christian Gardner in the 7. Christian Gardner going to be coming in 11th in points. Needs to have some consistent runs. If he has any faltering moments, could find himself getting bumped out. Thomas Fisher, driver that is on probation and will have an EOL, start at the end of the line. Going to be back at the start of row number 7 with Jack Rager going to be to his outside for the 13. Row number 8, that's when we're going to be finding that of Andrew Cootie, with also the winningest driver so far this season and champion of last season and winner of this dramatic race last season, Braxton DeWeese in 16th position. Dropping back in 17th place, find Jacob Grant, and it looks like Keenan Massey was supposed to be there but will be missing the grid for the 4. And dropping back to these last 2 rows, we'll find Caleb Smith, our winner from last week, with Brockton Packard. Another EOL will given to the 24, and finishing out it will be that of Zach Peterson and that of Papa Smith. It's Chris Smith of the 55.
There's the lineup as, again, the field will make their way to the back straightaway. Ready to go again for 300 miles, 200 laps. Just a couple more strategies along the way as we get ready for the pace car to drop onto the pit lane. We watch this battle for things to focus on, the playoff bubble, obviously. Christian Gardner, Kevin Martin on the final spots on the outside looking in. By mere points, Robbie Helms, Evan Coleman, Keenan Massey, Brockton Packard. We're ready for this event. 200 laps, 300 miles. Competition caution at lap 60. And again, pit window between 40 to 43 laps. They're ready to go at Charlotte. The pace car drops onto the pit lane. They're in the Toyota restart zone. Green is out. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a virtual race. Drivers in green on the scoring ticker going to the postseason. Now, 3 races to go to the playoffs. And who will survive Charlotte? We're underway in turn 1. It's Coleman on the jump.
Evan Coleman, he's supposed to be running the 51, going with the 11 scheme here tonight as they're going to be dashing into turn number 3. Drivers side by side, Logan Breaky, Matt Dyer, both drivers that looked great last week. Yesterday, excuse me, for the practice race. Matt Dyer won that as they're clogging up. Watch out. There they go.
Trouble. Martin goes around. He's into the concrete. Couple of other cars zigging and zagging to miss him. And Martin crashes off of turn 4. Caution is out as fast as this race got started, Samuel Dyer.
It really was one of those things coming out of turn 4. The cars just all funneled together, coming close to that outside wall. Nowhere to go for that of Kevin Martin. And Martin, one of those drivers that needed a solid run for himself. This is not the way you want to start out this race. Luckily, the drivers do have a fast repair, as we'll see the accident coming out of turn number 4.
What a tough break. Watch this replay. He bounced off of Martin's car, bounced off the other car in front of him, and then there was a little bit of help.
Just
what was the car
tad.
there that hit the wall? I know we saw Kevin Martin crash, but there's another one that I got to say wrecked in front of him. It was the USA color. Was it Ross Tatum in the 21 car, possibly?
I get another view, but this is on Braxton DeWeese's point of view of what happened here with this incident. But looking at the different cars, there might have been Altus, but I'm not fully sure on the cars. As a lot of these drivers, going with patriotic schemes here tonight at Charlotte. As
yes,
Rex, Smoke, and Deweese just trying to go low to avoid everyone. A car flipping, going crazy, and that was actually the 10. That was Jonathan Woods who went upside down.
And honestly, Samuel, that's where the wreck started. Woods got in front of Martin. They cross-checked one another. And then the 10 car, Woods went flying through the air. We didn't even see that. Jonathan Woods. Wow. They get one fast repair, and that is it. Kind of early to be using that now, isn't it, Samuel?
Yeah, it's a little bit early to think about using it. But for that of Woods, you might have to use his fast repair early on. And
Woods, Martin, and Rager have all used their fast repair.
Wow. Lap 1, that's not really how you want to start things off. 200 laps, and we're expecting these drivers to deal with a very loose car this evening. I was hearing a lot of drivers out of turn 2 and out of turn 4. The back end just wanted to kick out on them a lot. So if you're already using your fast repair this early, you got to race conservative, and it's complete kind of mindset switch that you have to go with once you use your fast repair this early on of, okay, we're going to go with the safe route instead of getting myself into trouble.
So Evan Coleman right now the leader. We're only 3 laps into this race after we had that accident there. And obviously I think we're going to see that stretch of green caution. Obviously looks like it's setting itself up for that, Samuel. Obviously the lights are also off on the pace car, so we will come back to the green flag. He's the leader. Evan Coleman, you're on board with him right now. Get ready to re-rack them, restack them, and try this again.
Trying to save fuel already.
I think he is.
There is a competition caution on lap 60 for these drivers, and with the timing of this caution, the driver's fuel window is around 40 to 43 laps. So trying to stretch it out a little bit further than that with this competition caution, and also with the drivers getting stacked up and ready to go. A few drivers actually had to use a fast repair. That is Spencer Best blew his engine under pacing a lap ago. He got pushed and got a little bit of help from that of Brockton Packard and a few other drivers in pit road, but Zach Peterson did not use a fast repair, it looks like, and he's manually repairing, and he might call it quits for the 96.
The field will make their way back to the Toyota restart zone for what will be the first official restart now of the race after an accident off of the 4th turn. Getting things started. Field makes their way back to the green flag. Coleman on the jump. He'll set sail. 2 car lengths away. 2 by 2. They're battling. Altus on the outside looking in. A lot of patriotic color schemes, and it's changed the wrap jobs of the races that we're normally used to calling, seeing the same car numbers and colors. That could be a little confusing for us. We'll do our best. Matt Dyer sizing up Altus for 3rd as they work off turn 4.
A driver that came back to an older scheme, that's going to be that of Eric Stamp, just watching Altus and Dyer battling side by side for 3rd position. But it's CEM Motorsports, going to be 1, 2, and 4 currently as Dyer's trying to move up into 3rd place. Great to see CEM Motorsports working as a team here after Caleb Smith's win last week. And I also want to give note, happy birthday to Caleb Smith, who's running in 10th position for that 12 machine.
Yes, happy birthday. It's the birthday for Caleb Smith, and we'd like to wish him a happy birthday from everybody at the Live Sim Racing broadcast booth. Coming up with a win last week in that Ford Mustang number 12 machine. And he had punched his ticket into the playoffs. And congratulations to Caleb Smith winning last week, birthday today. And how sweet it would be on his birthday to get a sweep and a 2 wins in a row if he could do that. Here he goes into 3, trying to get around Robbie Helms, and there's the man that everybody has been gunning for all season long, Braxton DeWeese, number 8 machine, coming across the line.
Yeah, Braxton DeWeese certainly is a driver to watch out for the longer the run goes on. He might not be the fastest car up front in the first first quarter of the race, but once the car starts to develop, he finds his groove. That 8 of Braxton DeWeese always seems to be up front in the top 10, top 3 in those final 20 laps. So he's going to be a driver to watch out for, currently in 8th place with Caleb Smith trying to get past him on his back bumper.
Into that corner, down into turn 1. Look at this gaggle of cars going at it. Massey, Helms, all in that mix. There you see them down the back straightaway.
That's Chris Smith, who's now moved up into the top 10. You really don't get to see Papa Smith up in the top 10 very often, but Charlotte, one of the more well-known tracks here on iRacing. It's one of the free courses that these drivers get, as well as it's one of the most popular courses that drivers go to just because of how simple, and it's not the easiest track in the world, but out of all the cookie cutter courses, this is one of the easiest ones, and it's great to see Chris Smith doing so well, running in 10th position currently for the 55.
Down into turn 1, there you see him. There is Papa Smith. Robbie Helms right behind him in the 18 car. Robbie Helms, normally we see him in like a red car. Now he's in the white and blue number 18. And meanwhile, we got a battle for the lead as they have all reeled in. Coleman for that spot down the back straightaway. Here comes Logan Brakey. Here comes Altus. A 5-6 car battle for the lead as they go to turn 3.
Altus trying to get by that of Logan Brake, but Logan's one of the hardest drivers to try to get by at these mile-and-a-half courses. He just always makes you work. Even if you're on the inside, the more preferred lane, Logan knows how to figure out how to keep the speed, the momentum out of the corner to keep himself side by side, and it takes usually anywhere to 3 to 4 laps. And finally, Altus making the pass, now giving that Eric Stamp a shot to the inside for 3rd.
Back straightaway into that 3rd turn. Working their way back across, start finish. Underway, 12 of 200, now make it lap 13. We're working, 12 completed. There's the CEM Motorsports entry back rear camera of Logan Brakey. Good run for him so far. Decent in the start of things here at Charlotte, but again, Samuel, this is the big one. A long way to go. 200 laps.
Yeah, 200 laps, and you know, looking back at last season here at Charlotte, it really came down to the final 20 laps, putting this race into having to use all 3 overtime attempts. Wouldn't be surprised we have to do a very similar thing here tonight, but drivers, they know that there is always a time here at Charlotte where there's a long green flag run that builds up, and it's all about how do you save fuel, and also what is your tire strategy going to look like when you're going to be coming into pit road, especially with comp caution coming out at lap 60. These drivers have to think, when do I want to make my pit stop? Because based on the fuel and only having 1 caution, it doesn't look like these drivers are going to be able to make it all the way that comp caution without pitting once.
Working their way back off that corner. Here you see the pack. Obviously, there is a competition caution scheduled for lap 60. Pit road will close on lap 58. Logan Brakey is there. The 69 of Eric Stamp also in that mix. Here they come. Back off of turn 4, Coleman and Altus. Brakey top 3. Another lap on the board. Things kind of settle down here for a little bit now. Samuel starting to tick off laps one by one, it looks like.
Yeah, I mean, it's starting to look pretty solid as we're seeing the battle for second place. You got Altus, Breaky, and Stamp. They're all in line. And then behind them, you've got Andrew Cootie and Ross Tatum. Tatum has tried to make the pass of the 48 multiple times, and looks like this time Cootie not wanting to make a block on the 21, but he had done that twice, almost bringing out an accident. And now you've got Cootie if trying to hold on. He touched the apron and getting a little bit loose, which is what the sensation these drivers were talking about during practice was this setup is going to be very loose, and they're excited for when the sun goes down, hoping they can find a little bit more grip, as that of Caleb Smith now up to 7th place after qualifying back in 14th.
Back straight away into that third turn. And look at Stamp now, allowing, here comes Ross Tatum to close in on him. Tatum on the inside, clears the machine of Stamp, going after now Logan, braking for third. And he's right around Altus and Coleman as well as they work their way off too.
Ross Tatum just has so much more speed than the rest of the field, running about a tenth, almost 2 tenths faster than everyone else, which is either just the fact that he's been saving while everyone else was pushing, or it's a flip-flop. Everyone else is trying to save as much fuel so they don't have to take pit any sooner than they have to later on in this stint. They stay in line.
A lot of racing left to go here, though. I mean, I'm telling you, it's still early in the going now, Samuel. Definitely. Got to pace yourself.
Yeah, for sure. There's a lot of patience that needs to be shown here. And, you know, for a driver that is trying to utilize that patience, moved up to 11th, Jacob Grant, he's one of those drivers that actually had to start further back in the field because of an EOL penalty that was given. And so he's been having to work his way up through the field, and he's up to 11th. A great start. And with the comp caution right around the corner, a lot of these drivers that might be feeling like they're losing pace, they're not out of it yet.
Do we think it was smart for Coleman to be, you know, obviously cutting the car off and refiring it, recutting it off, refiring it, and obviously you got to be careful because you could possibly stall the engine. It happens, but yeah. I mean, smart move, conserving fuel. Do you think? You think could he make it all the way to lap 60 by doing that as well, Samuel?
I mean, it's one of those things. If I don't think they're going to make it all the way to 60, but they're certainly going to be probably about 5 laps short, which means that these drivers can probably stretch it as far as they want and then come into the pits, just take a splash and go before the comp caution comes out. But a thing to remember is Evan Coleman, as well as Logan Breaky, Matt Zeyer, they're all a part of that CEM Motorsports team. And Matt Zeyer is known for trying the odd strategies and giving his teammates fuel run strategy calls of, hey, if you want to pit early, here's your strategy for this. If you want to go as long as possible, here's a thought. And for Evan Coleman, he is going for just get out there, be as fast as you can be. I don't think saving fuel, I mean, yes, cutting off the engine, trying to save as much as possible, but with him being up front, he's not having the draft to help save fuel at all. It is just go, go, go from this point on.
Back straight away into that third turn. And look at now, Breaky battling with Altus for that position. This is going on for second. Eric Stamp is right there with them. A lap on the board here. Yeah.
Puff smoke did come out, and it looks like that of Reger going to be having issues or coming into pit road and trying to make sure he did not burn out his tires. It's a 13. He is disconnected. His race is done.
Man, what a tough break there for... But a tough break for Gardner also. And
for Christian Gardner, this is such a tough spot for him, being back in 20th spot.
Yeah.
Last of those that are running. And with him in a spot, he's 11th in points. Luckily, he's got 22 points ahead of that of Robbie Helms, but with it being 3 races and counting today left in the regular season, you cannot have a poor showing. And a lot of these drivers that are outside of our top 12 in points, you got Evan Coleman, who's up front leading laps, and also got to watch out for how well that we're seeing from Chris Smith running. Those points going to slowly be adding up for those drivers. And if you see someone that wins and moves on, the pressure will be certainly over the 7, as we've got Texas after tonight's race next week, and then finishing off the regular season Daytona. That is another wild card race that anyone could possibly win there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, you literally, you put yourself in Texas, and honestly, Texas, similar, if you will, to Charlotte, but it has its differences. But bottom line, if you do not produce in what is these final 2 races after tonight, you can kiss your playoffs goodbye. And for a guy like Christian Gardner, this is really a tough break for him, because honestly, I mean, he's out of he could possibly just be out of the playoff picture right now.
Yeah, and another driver that's not having the best showing, that of Thomas Fisher. Luckily, he won back at Road America, so he is also automatically locked in. So for the drivers that are already locked in, you got Braxton DeWeese, Ross Tatum, Caleb Smith, Jacob Grant, and as well Thomas Fisher. They're doing the best that they can to just get as many wins, so that the drivers that are outside of the top 12, they cannot lock themselves in with just a win themselves. Ross Tatum to the lead. And that 21 is really just sending it, not really giving a care about fuel or tires, is all about getting himself to the lead, and he's done so. As Matt Dyer, he's now moved up to 4th place, and we're starting to see that shift of drivers that were backing off around lap 10. They're now making their aggressive push to try to get up front, so they're not losing too much time once pit stops get crazy.
30 laps in of 200. We're going to go side by side so you don't miss a thing. We are underway at Charlotte. Coverage when we return. LSRTV. And there's your Saw Blade top 5 on the top left of the monitor. As right now, it is Ross Tatum out in front looking for another win. And the big one, the Coca-Cola 300, which is, by the way, a sponsor on his race car.
Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, right? Our Ram trucks, truck of the year, amazing trucks. We have fun Jeeps, and then the exciting Dodge and Chrysler products. Lots of performance there, lots of excitement there. They've done a great job in really creating a full scope product line that could suit everybody's needs. Whether it's a family vehicle or a fun vehicle or a utility type vehicle or a big truck, we've got it all for our customers.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the SNB Cup Series. It's the Coca-Cola 300 here at Charlotte, the longest race of the season for the SNB Cup Series. Currently, it's Ross Tatum, Evan Coleman, Logan Brakey, Matt Dyer, and that of Josh Altis going to be backpack in our top 5, but everyone's single filed up until we get to that 5th position. Caleb Smith, he's starting to make a pass on Altis, trying to put himself into the top 5. Been seeing a lot of these drivers shifting back and forth on what position they want to be in. Ross Tatum, he's been on the go, putting himself up front, but side by side, Caleb Smith. Also, Eric Stamp thinking about 3 wide action right there, but going to be backing out for the 69 car. Taco Bell machine, that's a little bit too much to try to grab for himself. Now he's going to back off. Got to be concerned as Braxton DeWeese as well as Andrew Cootie. They're just waiting for any type of a slip up. And just like that, Eric Stamp goes extremely wide, trying to go up to the wall. We'll see what run he gets. But Braxton DeWeese, he's got some speed as well. But everyone just picking and choosing where they want to place themselves as we're halfway through this, what would be stage 1 in a way, as our competition caution on lap 60 for these drivers right around the corner. But we've only had 1 caution so far, and it was kind of a big one, taking out a couple of machines, and we've had 2 DNFs so far. Now Jack Rager as well as Zach Peterson, those 2 drivers have parked it for the evening as we're continuing to watch the great battling that's going on for 7th and 8th place. Eric Stamp going to be dropping back to 8th position, side by side with Braxton DeWeese. Looking at the field, it's Ross Tatum, Evan Coleman, Logan Brakey, Matt Dyer, Caleb Smith, your top 5. Jacob Grant has now moved into the top 10. Slowly but surely, we're seeing some of these drivers that penalties given early on after last week's incidences have been making some great moves forward. Jacob Grant, he's already won this season at Indy and trying to hope that he could get another win for himself. As Andrew Cootie going to be going low, getting pinched by Stamp. Luckily, no contact was made there as the drivers for 8th place. A little bit dicey, and that's a risky call when you're trying to get side by side, also pinching the driver below you, and they're practically on the apron, almost bouncing up into you. Got to be careful on how well you want to be pinching the driver. Braxton DeWeese trying to find some speed on the outside, and I think he might have found it. Going to be utilizing the draft, leaving Altus, and now slicing and dicing Braxton DeWeese. He's cutting his way forward, getting it passed by that of Altus up to 6th place, and Braxton, our winner from last season here at Charlotte. Not surprised that he is able to cut his way like he's doing now. Interesting, though, from last season, 2 drivers he had to beat out was this of Caleb Smith and Matt Dyer with a 4-wide move to win last season. We'll see if he wants to do anything as dramatic this go around. To the inside, Braxton DeWeese underneath Caleb Smith, and easy peasy gets himself under. I think everyone's recognizing, hey, let's back it off. Pit road is about to get busy here in the next 10 laps. This is when we're expecting a lot of drivers come in, just do a splash and go and get themselves out of there. My name is Sam Dyer, and Wesley Outland had to step away for a second. He'll be back here shortly. Charles Wooten up in the production chair here for LSRTV, covering SNB Cup Series action here tonight. It's 200 laps as we're watching Matt Dyer, Caleb Smith, Braxton DeWeese all battling to see who's going to be in the top 5. Currently, Matt Dyer, Caleb Smith in that position. Behind them, Andrew Cootie getting close to Stamp, almost making contact. Those 2 drivers battling for 8th place. They are getting a little bit too dicey for my liking, but we're still staying green, still pointing in the right direction. That's all that really matters at this point. But pit road in the minds of these drivers. Also, we're seeing a little bit of drivers having patriotic schemes. We're here at Charlotte. Drivers all asked, hey, can we run patriotic schemes last week? They were given the all clear, and as you can see, Caleb Smith running one of those patriotic schemes, his red, white, and blue G Fuel car. The 12 side by side with Braxton DeWeese on the outside. Braxton, once again, he just has that pace for himself to be up front. As looking at the field right now, everyone's keep themselves neat and tidy except for one driver coming in. That's going to be Kevin Martin in the 46. Starting off fuel runs here, and I'm not surprised. The AAH team usually coming in, that of Kevin Martin and Christian Gardner, they're always the first to come into pit road to make these early strategy calls. And into pit road up front, once was our leader, Evan Coleman, coming in. Again, one of those calls where I touched on it. He was not under pacing for our first caution. He was shutting off the engine, trying to save fuel. But because he was up front, wasn't able to save anything. Coming in now, the biggest question I think for these drivers are coming into pit road is, are they going to take tires or just fuel? They come in with 6 sets of tires. One they start off with, 5 in pit road. As coming in now, Braxton DeWeese, almost contact being made between himself and Dyer. Luckily coming in, you don't want to be caught up speeding. As more drivers coming in, Keenan Massey, who will be coming in with DeWeese, and both teammates of High Five Racing getting their service done. The window we were given a fuel run was around 40 to 43 laps, but with the pacing laps that we had from our first caution, thought that the drivers would aim around lap 42 to 43, but everyone getting some service done. Logan Brakey now coming into pit road for the 2 car, as we're still seeing drivers trickling into pit road. Currently, we're going to be having a total of 12 drivers, all still needing to take service done. And now it's going to be Brockton Packard into pit road for that Shadow Racing team. And still looking around at where drivers are going to be aiming to make their final pit stop. Currently, everyone's just going with fuel, except for Evan Coleman. I believe he might have taken just 2 tires with his stop that he made. Also, that of Chris Smith and Thomas Fisher. They took some repairs while in pit road. Don't want to be caught speeding, as here comes that of Caleb Smith and Andrew Cootie of our front 5 trying to get their service done. If you get caught speeding, most likely you'll be going a lap or 2 down, as we already have multiple drivers already a lap down. That of Chris Smith, Thomas Fisher, and Gardner, 2 laps down apiece for those drivers. So we're still waiting for the full field to make their service through. Spencer Best already took a set of tires when he came into pit road under our first caution. Interesting call for the 20, who's in 7th place, as you're seeing drivers coming out of pit road. Just looking at how this field is right now, 8 drivers still needing to make their green flag pit stop. Eric Stamp might be making the call that he's going to be coming in this time by. Still waiting for Dyer, Ross Tatum. When will they make their move into pit road? As we've seen Ross Tatum be quick, but based off of the Indy race, didn't have the best fuel strategy run to win that course, as he actually missed by one lap. As here comes this of Altus. Also going to be seeing Ross Tatum come into pit road and Eric Stamp added along. Those three drivers all were running in the top 5. Now we're going to get their service done. Matt Dyer, Jacob Grant, two drivers that were battling heavily against one another yesterday for their practice race. In practice time, it was that of Matt Dyer that actually won the practice race, the 88, finding a way to save fuel and tires for that last stint. We'll see who of those two are going to be coming into pit road. Also got that of Jonathan Woods, who we saw flipping in our first caution. He's still running in 3rd place currently. And Spencer Best get his service done as Rob Sherwood is in pit road, trying to get himself out of pit road. Eric Stamp as well. And still waiting for our front 4. It looks like Best, Dyer, just Best coming into pit road to get service done for himself of our front 4. Ross Tatum, after getting service done for himself, he'll be trying to stay in front of Dyer. Looking at the drivers that are racing right now, we've got that of Eric Stamp, Joshua Altus, and Brockton Packard that went with 4 tires. Wesley, we're under green flags, pit stops. Still got ourselves 2 more drivers come in, as here comes that of Jacob Grant into pit road.
Yeah, I'm waiting for these cars to come out of the pit lane, and the cycle of first round of pit stops lead on. Apologize, had to step away for a few moments, handle some logistics for my upcoming weekend of travels. Matt Dyer on the lane now. He will give up the lead. He will come down to the lead, to the pits. Your brother. Here he comes. And honestly, Samuel, Matt Dyer kind of got snake bit. He got screwed last year at this race. He should have won it.
Yeah, it was a lot of cautions that just kept on building up over one another, and it was one of those things where, you got to pick and choose what types of move you want to make. As Matt Dyer used up all of his sets of tires, and late in the run, you had Braxton DeWeese and a couple other drivers taking 4 tires because they still had that extra set. So might be something that Matt Dyer's learned from last year was, do I want to save a set or not for late in the race? As here comes Jonathan Woods into pit road. This will be our last driver to make service done. Now, Wesley, it's all about getting to that lap 60 marker. That's when we'll be seeing our competition caution. And Ross Tatum, he's looking like he'll be taking that lead position with Braxton DeWeese in second, Logan Brakey. And just seeing those drivers racing back and forth. I think the biggest surprise for me looking at the field is where is some of the guys that were up front, such as Evan Coleman, who might have been caught with a penalty where he had to come back into pit road for the 51.
Field comes back down the back straightaway as again Ross Tatum will cycle back around as the leader, along with Braxton DeWeese in second, Logan Brakey third, Eric Stamp, Altus in the top 5. Drivers that are in green are in the playoffs. Gardner was 11th moving into the playoff spot. He might get bumped tonight after having problems way in the early going, and he is out of the race. Also, the pole car, Coleman, several laps down in car 51. What's the update on Evan Coleman's car, Samuel Dyer?
It looks like he got a penalty coming out of pit road. His first pit stop, had to come back into pit road, and also looks like he might have also needed to pack that car full of fuel. Little mistakes on pit road, very costly for our pole car that was running up in our top 2 before green flag pit stops happened. Now he's the last car running 2 laps down.
So there you go. Understanding he had a big penalty.
Yeah, he had
the cost him big time.
Yeah, he had about a 20-second hold or 15-second hold to get into his pit box, and then also just took services for himself. So it was not the pit stop that he wanted. He had to come in for the second time. That's why he's found himself 2 laps down. But up front, Eric Stamp, forward driver Eric Stamp, Joshua Altus, as well as Brockton Packard. Those 3 drivers all went for 4 tires on this stop. They want the track position to be up front. That's why they made this call to pit and when they came in to take 4 tires.
across the line. And Tatum out in front, looking for, now falling back to third as Eric Stamp, believe it or not, starting to show his momentum in that car number 69. And he's one of those drivers, Samuel, without a win. And Altus as well. Altus needs a win to go to the playoffs. He might get in box, but definitely these guys, the clock is ticking here.
Yeah, I mean, Altus as well as that Rob Sherwood, Logan Brickey, and Matt Dyer, they're all 65 points plus over to the good. So all they really need to do is just show up for these final couple of races, and they're good to be making it into the playoffs practically, especially with the poor showing that we're seeing from some of the drivers lower in the field. But for Eric Stamp, Joshua Altus, and also Brockton Packard, those three drivers took tires under this pit stop. Everyone else just went with fuel. That's why we're seeing a little bit of a surge of who's up front and who's not.
All right, so again, they work their way with Stamp out in front, Stamp leading the way. Stamp and Altus. Altus is there. Tatum along with Packard and DeWeese, your top five as they work off of turn 4. Another lap on the board, lap 54 of 210. Or 200 laps the distance again. The longest race of the year for the drivers of the SNB Cup Series presented by Appalachian Hauler Hunters here on LSRTV. And back across start-finish line, there goes Altus trying to go after some more lap cars to try to run back down Stamp back to turn 1.
Yeah, Eric Stamp just 4 tenths ahead of that of Altus. Altus is doing a great job right now, just sitting and waiting. And I'm a little bit concerned for that of Stamp, Altus, and for Packard. They're kind of doing a similar move that we saw Dyer make last season that came out to be pretty costly, of not having enough fresh tires late in the run. But, you know, it's early on. We still have our comp caution at lap 60. So just thinking, why not get that track position for these front three, as Brockton Packard has now made the pass on Ross Tatum. Looking at the rest of the field, everyone else looking pretty stout to where they were previously, except for that of Evan Coleman. Still a huge shock to have that type of a error happen on pit road, costing him and making him have to come back in for 2 times. It's going to be a very long day for our pole sitter.
Back across the start-finish line. And Stamp now getting some company. Altus down to the inside. He's looking for the lead. Door to door. Got the run at the bottom of the corner. He will pass him easily. New leader. Altus. Bye-bye.
Making the pass, and away they go. And also, while making that pass, could be Spencer Best back a lap down and trying to defend. As Eric Stamp could be blocking the 20 from getting any type of movement. Josh Altus, 94. This could be the night, rocking a patriotic scheme for the 94. He could be finding his first win here for the Coca-Cola 300. It's still very possible for Altus, but we know, Wesley, once everyone gets restacked and that restart happens after this comp caution, and anything could happen, as we saw on our first lap and our first caution of the day.
And they are going to be coming to the line this time by, and this will be pit road closed on lap 58. 2 remaining now until the end of the for the competition caution coming up on lap 60. 1 yellow flag, and that was with a multi-accident right at the completion of lap number 1, involving several contenders. And now Altus makes the 4th different leader of the race, and down the back straightaway he comes, looking for the white flag, or at least the one to go this time by. In the competition caution will be coming up, as right now out in front Altus. What a run for the 94.
Altus has been just so good at getting himself up front tonight, and it's been a blast to watch the 94. Been picking and choosing, as that is the comp caution on lap 60. It's Joshua Altus getting the win at the comp caution, but there are no bonus points, but it's nice to show off and be up front.
There we go. So we are under the yellow flag. 60 laps in of 200. And we are going to take an extended commercial break. When we return, we'll come back for more racing on LSRTV and the SNB Cup Series, the Coca-Cola 300 from Charlotte.
Every customer, every single time, needs to get our very best. From moment one, my goal managing a team here in the dealership is to make sure that that customer's experience is the very best that they've ever had. We expect and demand total transparency. There should never be a time in that transaction where the customer is wondering or not quite sure of what they're buying or what they're paying or those sorts of things. And having that transparency and doing things the right way is super important.
Wheel to wheel, battle for the race lead. New race lead down the backstretch.
Here comes Training Frederick.
Everybody knows everybody. Well, they sure as hell know me. In that mad dog.
Look at that.
Look how wide the deer is.
Oh my god. Oh my god. He's down. He's down.
Hold him up first, huh? Can you hold him up? Son, what do you think about that? Dylan, give us some kick, buddy. Excited?
After me.
CRS Suspension and Fabrication is your trusted source for premium dirt oval shocks. For dwarf cars to late models and everything in between. We also offer adjustable spoilers and adjustable shock mounts, upgrades, car setup services, and even professional tech support for your entire racing season. You either run CRS shocks or you get outran by them. Call us today, 254-933-CRS1.
Back to Charlotte. Samuel Dyer, Wesley Outland, back in America's home for racing virtually. Thanks, by the way, for Competition Racing System Shocks for jumping up on board. New sponsor. It's awesome. Good to see them jumping on board, part of the new Upper Edge Racing Series. There's going to be about 4 or 5 people up to that broadcast. I'm hopefully going to be on a couple of those events, or at least for some of the series and things. And we got pit stops and 100 lifetime broadcaster. Is that what you said? I give you $110. You make me a lifetime broadcaster? I don't want to be the weather. I would. Oh well, I guess we could. And I'm in the broadcast booth. And I'm in the broadcast for the Upper Edge races. I mean, I don't have real announcer obligations, obviously, but I mean. The CRN weather conditions. The CRN weather. Stop making me work during. Stop making me think about contracts while I'm working. Charles Hims. He's doing it again, Samuel.
I mean,
He's doing it again.
We literally talked before we went live. We're like, okay, no contract talks. We're good.
And then when he did it. He did it to me. I always fall into it. Damn it.
What makes it worse is you were the one who said, "Hey, let's not talk about contracts."
Yeah, but not. I mean, you know, $110 for a whole year. I mean, you can't beat that, you know. But by the way, we're talking about sponsorship. If you're interested in wanting to be a sponsor for LSRTV, all of the coverage they have, contact livesimracing.com. Jeff Stabnow, Charles Wooten. They will take care of you and get you in the winning track for a sponsor of iRacing. And whatever else he says. No, we're not looking for anybody to announce. I'm not taking my damn job away. You know what I'm saying? Hey, if you're looking to get into producing or announcing, message us directly on Facebook, livesimracing.com. Samuel, we're not losing our jobs, are we? I mean, seriously. Come on. Last Wednesday, I thought I was fired with the whole fish noises thing, and it just happened, so I got lucky.
Yeah,
we do need producers, though. We need producers.
I mean, it's always nice to have extra people up in the booth, and those 3-man booth teams are always a blast to see.
They are. I'm a fan of the 3-man booth. I like the 3-man booth. And, yeah, rock and roll.
Looks like they are stacking up, getting ready to go here, Wesley. I mean, we got to see drivers try different strategies out for Altus, Stamp, and Packard. It worked out for them to take the 4 tires, but that means they've already used an extra set over everyone else. Everyone else still has about 4 sets in their pit box. For that of Altus, Stamp, and Packard, they've only got 3 sets for the rest of this race.
Apparently, we're hearing race car noises in our headset for some reason. Our producer Hims is like a little kid in a candy store right now. He's like, vroom, vroom, vroom. Oh, I'm telling you, people, one day I'm going to get it approved. LSRTV After Dark or unmiked or something, and you can be able to hear the shenanigans that we put up with in our day-to-day broadcast lives here. And we still try to keep it together, keep it together, keep it together, keep it together. Green flag is out. We're ready for the restart.
Going to be Brock and Packard side by side for second place. Eric Stamp going to be lingering on the outside, but the driver I've got my eye on, Ross Tatum. How aggressive we're going to see the 21, currently in 4th place. We saw that he loved getting up front early. We'll see when he can get up there in these next 5 to 10 laps.
Back straight away they go into that 3rd turn. Samuel, your take of the first half of the race so far here at Charlotte. Pretty quiet after the big wreck we had.
I think after that big wreck, I think everyone recognized, hey, we don't have to be aggressive. There is still a very long race. Let's not ruin our chances of having a good run and seeing side-by-side action for second place. But I thought that really the first 60 laps of this race, pretty much what Charlotte's like usually, where drivers are just trying to get in line, survive, recognizing a lot of the strategy calls that are going to be made is on that final pit stop on when the key factors of did you put yourself in a spot to win the race with having the best pit stop strategy call, or is this going to be a wreck mayhem, kind of like it was the end of last season?
Cross the line, another lap on the board. And it is Joshua Altus, Samuel, trying to get the victory lane. Look at this gaggle of cars fighting for position. In the words of Hims in the background, a storm is brewing in turn 3 and 4, led by DeWeese.
Yeah, and in the middle of all of this storm, you've got, Brassa, DeWeese, Dyer, they're challenging one another, as well as Caleb of that of Evan Coleman. He is making his charge through the middle of this. He's 2 laps down, trying to lap himself the hard way, but it is going to be a lot of work to see as Thomas Fisher, Braxton DeWeese, Matt Dyer, these 3 drivers kind of are, well, I know for at least for DeWeese and Dyer, are favorites coming into this race on how well they were going to attack and if Dyer was going to get any redemption. For Thomas Fisher, he is on close eyes from the admins, put on probation after last week's incidences. Yes, he was taken out by Tom Bourne, but also we saw Thomas Fisher wreck about 3 or 4 different drivers last week. Got docked 5 points and was given an EOL for tonight's race, and now on probation for the rest of the season for the 92. He's got to make sure he stays clean, but it's been pretty difficult for the 92 this season to keep his nose out of trouble, but his goal is to do just that.
When you're on probation, obviously, do you think that makes you drive a little differently, Samuel? You have the eyes of the series and the world on you right now for, like, what's going on. I mean, kind of it's like it's kind of like you've been a bad boy, bad girl, and you got to get back into the good graces of everybody.
Yeah, and for most of the league, they're hoping that Thomas Fisher is going to be making that change and that leap, even with probation on him. He started the beginning of the season, had some wrecks, got collected with the Tom Bourne incident at Bristol, and it kind of turned into each week a little bit of a different excuse that would come up for Fisher, for him saying, hey, I'm new to oval racing. And it's been a fact. I mean, we've seen Thomas Fisher be so dominant at road courses. The oval racing is something that he's trying to pick on, but, the 92 has been quick, and Thomas Fisher now trying to make the pass up to 7th place.
Through the dog leg, here is Charlotte. There's the 52 of Jacob Grant, the Indianapolis winner. He knows he's punched his ticket into the playoffs. And there goes Caleb Smith, who won last week in a wild one at Sonoma. One we will soon not forget, and that is the reason why the 54 of Tom Bourne is not here.
Yeah, Tom was trying his best to protest and make his case on why he should still be racing, but I think for all of us up in the booth, we can all tell that if you're intentionally wrecking the leader, it doesn't matter what pent-up aggression that you've been seeing throughout the season. That is just a big fat no-no. Should not be able to get away with it, and that's why we saw Tom Bourne get the one-race suspension, docked a ton of points, was docked 20 points, then also was suspended from today's race, and with all those points being lost, Tom Bourne most likely is knocked out of the playoff contention.
You don't think there's any way possible that he could pop in and you know, win the race next week or the next two races, Texas or Daytona, and go to the playoffs?
Well, if Tom Bourne is going to be making it into the playoffs, he has to make sure that he wins these next two races at Texas and at Daytona. And with those two wins, he's also going to have to make sure that that's enough points to keep him inside of the top 20. As if you've got a win and you're inside the top 20, that means you get to move on. But there is a kind of a stipulation of you need to make a total of 10 races. And with the amount of races that are being lost, I think Tom might be a race short from making it even with that win and being inside the top 20.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. So it's going to definitely be a, if you will, rabbit out of a hat for the driver of Tom Bourne. And I will be probably surprised to say I don't think we will see him anymore this year. If he's back, I will say I admire his tenacity and drive. 75 in, 25 to halfway. Coming up, welcome to coverage of the SNB Cup Series presented by Hauler Hunters. Samuel Dyer, Wesley Outland, Charles Wooten is in the booth in the production side of things. And Grant and Smith and Brakey are looking like they're fighting for the last piece of crumb at a Thanksgiving dinner table in turn 3.
It is all about who can grab all the positions as possible. Ross Tatum, surprised that he fell back as much as he did. He was challenging up in top 4 and fell all the way back to 8th at one moment. Now settling in 7th position, but Logan Brakey, Caleb Smith, both those drivers, they've been up in our top 5 for most of this race. Would not be surprised to see them make the charge that they are. I'm looking at, though, at further back in the field, back and around 15th place, from 10th to 15th. You've got drivers that I thought would be up in our top 5, top 10. Braxton Deweese currently in 11th, Matt Dyer in 13th, Andrew Cootie in 14th. Those are drivers that were up front in that first 60 laps. They're now falling back, probably most likely trying to save as much fuel to turn this race. I mean, we're most likely going to be seeing 2 more stops from this point on. Drivers aiming for around a lap 102 to 105. That's the window that we're looking for their next pit stop. But if you could stretch it a little bit further, maybe get to lap 110, you could find yourself turning this race into a one-stopper from that point on, after getting, well, not a one-stopper, but slimming down when you need to make your last pit stop.
Down to turn 1, there you go. Look at Brakey up the racetrack. And there's that 29 machine also there. Watching all these cars making their way. What a good run there. Rob Sherwood trying to just kind of stay in the back of the pack, but 11's there, 48. Andrew Cootie. He's kind of had a quiet night in that 48 car so far, Samuel.
Yeah, Cootie was running in those first about 40 to 50 laps, around to 8th place, 7th, 8th place, and now is falling back to 13th. Going to be making the pass on Dyer and trying to move himself forward. Spencer Best, also Christian Garner. Those two drivers trying to make their moves, as these are the guys around 13th to 15th, all just duking it out, figuring out who's going to be in the better spot to try to save fuel and keep themselves out of trouble. As well as that battling is going on, and here's some other battles to be seen. As in up front, this is for 6th and 5th position, where we've got that of Caleb Smith, Ross Tatum side by side, as well as the 2 laps down machine of Evan Coleman, who's cut his way through the field. Goal for Evan Coleman in the 11 to put himself up front, so he's only 1 lap down. So if a caution does come out, he'll find himself back with a shot to get himself back onto the lead lap. Robbie Helms, it looks like, into pit road for the 18, getting his service done.
Might be pitting a little early, possibly, for sure. We'll see what goes on there as he comes back down the back straightaway. Tatum. A couple other cars there as well. Along with Caleb Smith up the racetrack. Here comes that 11. The 11, normally the 51, Evan Coleman. A lot of patriotic colors of red, white, and blue on this race here at the America's Home for Racing virtual Charlotte Motor Speedway. Little ink and blink and nod as well for Ross Tatum. Better find that 21 working right again, and he'll clear Caleb Smith, and that is a whole bunch of red, white, and blue in a pack as they go to that third turn.
Yeah, they are keeping it extremely close to one another, all in line. Evan Coleman in the 11, like you said, usually running the 51, 2 laps down, but he needs a lot of work to get back up front. But going to be making the pass easily on Evan Coleman onto Caleb Smith, as those are teammates. Gotta watch out for Jonathan Woods. Woods made his season debut last week, but it wasn't his SNB debut. Jonathan Woods raced last season, but showed up late this season along, but certainly the 10 has shown a lot of pace for himself.
And here comes the number 1 seed, the black sheep of the series, if you will, the black number 8 machine of Braxton DeWeese, as he is now starting to close in on these cars.
Yeah, DeWeese has just been moving back and forth. He has been constantly just picking and choosing where he wants to go. A lot of drivers making early pit stops than I was expecting. Could be a call of possibly making sure that their final pit stop is going to be a good one, as some drivers trying to stretch this race to turn it into just a 4 pit stop race. Other drivers going to be aiming that have already pitted. This race will turn into a 5 pit stop course. So this is an interesting call for that of Andrew Cootie, who just came into pit road, as well as we already saw that of Robbie Helms come in 3 laps ago. For all those drivers that are making their pit stops here before lap 100, this is putting yourself in a spot where you've got to gain a lot of time extremely quick, because everyone else, they're cutting down a pit stop while you're adding one.
Yeah, they certainly are. We're going to keep an eye on that there as they work their way back in off of that second turn, back straightaway. No, apologies, back to the front straightaway, my bad. As there goes the 21 at Tatum. Tatum gets Packard. Packard getting some company from the 11. A shot by Coleman down to the inside. He couldn't do it. Here comes Smith. Here comes Woods. And wow, it's starting to pick up as we approach triple digits in about 13 laps.
Yeah, our pole sitter, that being Evan Coleman, he is not really giving a care. If you're in his way, he is going to move you out of the way. He wants to get back on the lead lap, has a feeling he could win this race. And it's so important for Evan Coleman because he's outside of the top 12. This driver is kind of in a spot with seeing that of Christian Gardner having a decent run for himself, also of that of Kevin Martin having a decent run. Those are the 2 drivers in 11th and 12th in points. Evan Coleman needs a win if he wants to find himself into the playoffs. It's going to be a lot of work being 2 laps down currently, but I think it's possible.
Back across the start-finish line, there goes the 12. And while that goes on, there's Tatum and Brakey closing in. They're closing in on Grant. Everyone's single file. Got to think, Samuel, green flag pit stops should be coming here for a majority of the pack. I know we saw some early takers, but will we see them hit the pit lane before lap 100 at halfway, do you think?
I'm expecting a lot of drivers to aim for around 102. That should be the window a lot of these drivers are trying to stretch to, but we could be seeing the guys that are up front, like Altus and Stamp, that have been running up front, maybe not trying to save fuel. There is a possibility that they do have to pit around lap 98, and that's their window to look out for. But I saw a little bit of a blip on what happened to Andrew Cootie. He pitted early about 2 laps ago, but 48, I thought he came into pit road cleanly, but actually after hitting the line, got caught speeding and spun himself around while entering pit road. The 48 had an extended pit stop. He is now back in 20th place with being 2 laps down.
Across the start-finish line. And we are closing in on halfway. There you see that back. Honestly, that is the best battle on the racetrack. With that gaggle of traffic, those 6 cars in the tandem down the back straightaway. Next week, Daytona in 2 weeks, and then the playoffs.
Yeah, no, the playoffs is going to get wild. Even with the fact that Daytona, it's not the Daytona road course. We started the season off at Daytona. We're going to end the regular season off with Daytona. Super speedway racing. It's all about teamwork. With this new aero package that iRacing has for these drivers, it's all about how well can you get in line, utilize the draft, side drafting, and make yourself as a team be the fastest as it can. Because on the old iRacing and old aero package, you were able to just fling yourself by yourself, just get the draft, get the momentum, and you can pass about 3 cars just by utilizing the draft and throwing it to the outside. Now it's a struggle just to pass 1 car by yourself. So it's going to be interesting how the end of the regular season works out. And for teammates, who are you going to help focus to try to get into the playoffs?
Down to that third, coming off of 4. Here they come to the triangle. We're closing in on halfway. You're riding on board with the Coca-Cola body armor. Yes, I love that drink. Monster Energy, yeah. Number 21 here in the Coca-Cola 300, and that is Ross the Boss Tatum, the 21. Samuel, he's been on cloud 9, couple of ups and some downs last week as well for the 21 at Sonoma. Turning things around here right now. That 21 car looking good. Got Coca-Cola all over that car right now.
Yeah, it's been a kind of a rough 2 weeks in a row. You have the All-Star race. Ross Tatum got taken out by Braxton DeWeese.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
And then you had last week's woes at Sonoma.
You thought the All-Star race was crazy. What the hell happened last week was phenomenal. Yeah.
Yeah, it just kept on stacking on top of one another. And, looking back at last season, I mean, this track, Charlotte last season, we saw Braxton DeWeese send it 4 wide into turn number 4 to win on the last lap. Expecting something pretty similar here tonight as the drivers just in cruise control currently. And once we get past lap 100, this is when the mind games start to kick in of drivers on when they want to make these final 2 pit stops to finish out this race. We still have the one that's going to be within the next 10 laps as Jacob Grant going to get up into the wall, having some issues, losing ground, and a little bit of scattering going on as the 52 losing spots. That's going to be hurting Ross Tatum the most. That of Caleb Smith trying to get underneath the 52, not able to. But Wesley, I mean, last season, 4 wide pass for Braxton DeWeese. He kind of wiped out the other 3 drivers. But here tonight, it's everyone's keeping themselves pretty clean with one another, still in line besides that one wreck.
Caleb Smith tied in loose off number 52 machine there. Jacob Grant promoting Tyler Stooksbury's podcast. And Stooksbury wasn't able to make the race today. Whoa, going below the line there. Holy cow. Talk about the pass in the grass for almost Caleb Smith.
Caleb Smith, as well as Jacob Grant, know each other personally in real life, so they're willing to race aggressive. They know how to race with one another. Been doing it for years. Not surprised on how aggressive we're seeing the 12, but the grass is not where you really want to place these stock cars, especially with the slick tires.
Jacob Grant going after Evan Coleman. Look at this shot from the camera off of turn number 2.
Camera off of Logan Brakey and just showing off the different schemes that are out here. I believe that Evan Coleman's actually running a patriotic space station scheme from the space station esports team that races for the eNASCAR. So.
Hey!
You cannot repeat what him said?
I'm not repeating what him said. Don't you do it there. Don't stoop to his level, Samuel.
Oh, absolutely not. But into pit road, lap 100, it's going to be Ross Tatum, and also that of Jonathan Woods coming into pit road, getting service done, as well as Kevin Martin. So these drivers,
Perverted dirty man.
they're now in a tricky spot because we have not seen anybody be able to stretch their fuel out to 50 laps. You need to push this fuel window to around 110. That's why we saw some of the drivers follow back, like Braxton Weiss, Dyer, and others. This is a very tricky spot where the drivers that just pitted, that of Tatum and Woods, they're most likely going to have to make another 2 more stops unless the caution comes out.
And we're at halfway as well. Remember, I said that we think we'll see him come to the pit lane before halfway, and that is exactly what they have done. To the pits they come, and more cars will be coming in as well.
Spencer Bett's going to be the next driver in the pit road for the 20. And everyone else still lingering on. This is around the window I was thinking about, lap 102 to 105. That's the window I would like for these guys to go to. If they can get to 110, they can finish this race out in a 1 more pit stop. But if you're pitting before 105, you're in a spot where you're most likely going to have to pit 2 more times.
Halfway here tonight, Charlotte in the Coca-Cola 300. The big one, the longest race of the year, the SNB Cup Series.
And Massey now going to be in the pit road for the 4 for High Five Racing.
Little slip for Grant. Off the wall. He'll save it. Luis goes by. No caution. Smith will now clear him going to 1.
Jacob Grant's tires just seem to be completely toasted. Expecting a lot of drivers coming in this time by, but Jacob Grant, that's the 2nd or 3rd time I've seen the 52 get out of trouble, and it's been costing him time drastically. He's got to clean that up if he wants a shot to win tonight.
Here comes more cars onto the pit lane, excuse me. DeWeese squilling tires, smoking, might have possibly, maybe speeding. He's right behind Caleb Smith, and here they come to the pit lane. And correction, that's not DeWeese, that was also Jacob Grant.
Jacob Grant, Caleb Smith, and Brockton Packard, all 3 of them coming in this time by. The driver that can stay out the longest will have the advantage of freshness of tires, but also will have the advantage of fuel run on how the fuel strategy is going to work out, which was no surprise. Matt Dyer's out there. Braxton DeWeese trying something a little bit finicky. Logan Brakey, Joshua Altus, Eric Stamp. No surprise that they're trying something, but it's going to be Altus, DeWeese, both coming into pit road this time by. Also, you can throw in that of Thomas Fisher in a pit road. So leaving us with a total of 4. Evan Coleman is still racing out there, 1 lap down currently. As Coleman comes into pit road, so does Brakey. Stamp, almost a complete collision as those drivers come into pit road. It's going to be Matt Dyer staying out, the lone survivor, trying to stretch it out an extra couple of laps. Again, if we could somehow see Dyer get out there to around 110, to around probably around 110. That's the window he needs to get to if he wants to stretch this out for 1 more pit stop and have to take away a pit stop over everyone else.
Samuel, what can you say about how your brother's doing so far? What do you think? Give him a grade.
I mean, I'm not surprised at what he's doing right now. He's trying to set back. I mean, I would give him probably a B right now. If he can stretch it out to if he can stretch it out to 110, I would give him an A.
Everyone's a critic. Even Big Brother is. Or Little Brother is the Big Brother. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's talked about it. I've listened in on his conversations of trying to save fuel. This just seems a little bit out of his grasp, but he stayed back so far back trying to make sure that he could cut a pit stop out of this race. So he would know that he would still have an extra set of tires later on that cost him last season, but the timing could be hurting him with how slow he's off of the pace of everyone else just trying to save fuel.
So you're thinking, don't be trying to save a set of tires.
No, I think that that's exactly what he's trying to do right now, but he's just losing so much ground in time that it might backfire to where it has to be a late caution for him to have that over everyone's head that he's got an extra set. It looks like he is making the call.
He hasn't done
He's
it
coming
yet.
in.
Yeah, here he comes. Sounds like he's coming down to the pit lane, or maybe he's playing with all of us. Nope, here he comes. Okay.
Whoa!
Oh, that's not good. Oh.
A lot of practice
The
went
green
into that.
cone. Yeah, that green cone's the commitment cone, and from line to line, got to see if he got busted for speeding. Right now, so far, he's okay.
And the rest of the field, they're looking for around lap one, say 140-ish is where these drivers are looking to make their final pit stops, or trying to stretch it out from that marker. So Hims is wondering if there was a T-Rex on the 29 scheme on this pit box window. I believe it is a T-Rex there. As up front, it's now Ross Tatum, Jonathan Woods, those that started off this pit cycle off 11 laps ago, with Joshua Altus, as well as Jacob Grant and Caleb Smith, are top 5. Matt Dyer, who stayed out to make sure he could get to that 110 window so he could just make one more pit stop, is going to be around 13th place, still on the lead lap, but he's got to get himself up to speed and get going if he wants to be making it to, he needs to make sure he gets to around 150, I believe 155 is the window. That's the furthest that he can stretch it out under fuel. Everyone else, they have to pit around 145, as that's going to be the window differences between all the drivers here.
Rocking and rolling here at Charlotte. We go side by side, extended coverage. Got to thank our sponsors. We'll be back with more in a moment. Saw Blade top 5, top left of the monitor. There they are. It is Ross the Boss Tatum looking for win number 3. Oh, and by the way, redeeming himself after almost 2 weeks of bad luck. Back with more in a moment from Charlotte.
Wheel to wheel, battle for the race lead. New race lead down the back stretch.
Here comes Training Partner.
Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram, right? Our Ram trucks, truck of the year, amazing trucks. We have fun Jeeps, and then the exciting Dodge and Chrysler products. Lots of performance there, lots of excitement there. They've done a great job in really creating a full scope product line that could suit everybody's needs. Whether it's a family vehicle or a fun vehicle or a utility type vehicle or a big truck, we've got it all for our customers.
Thank you to CRS to jumping on board as one of our new sponsors, and a new leader out in front as well, Samuel Dyer, when we were on the break. Joshua Altus, can you say hungry for victory lane and to go to the playoffs of the 94 car? He leads.
Yeah, the 94 machine of Joshua Altus, he has done everything right to place this 94 up front. He stayed out the furthest of all the drivers in the top 5, having the freshest of tires out here. The next drivers that were pitted a lap sooner than Altus, that's Grant and Smith, that are currently running in second and third. So we're starting to see the tires that, like, if you got fresh tires, you're running well for yourself. But we're looking at this field right now, looking at when we're going to be seeing our next pit stop for these front runners, looking to be around lap 145 to 150. So we're expecting to see a lot of these drivers.
All Altus, Grant, right there, 1 and 2. Waiting patiently also is Caleb Smith. Tatum has fell back to 4th. Jonathan Woods, after becoming, I believe I can fly in the start of things, is now in the top 5. What a run for the 10 car in 5th now, Samuel.
Yeah, that's the power of having a faster pair. Even though he had to use it so early on in that first lap, hey, it gave you a shot to redeem yourself, and he certainly has taken that and succeeded. Jonathan Woods now going to be dropping back to 6th as Eric Stamp makes the pass, but Woods was part of the drivers that made it their first pit stop pretty early on in this race. Same with Ross Tatum. So both these drivers aiming that they can have a big enough lead once they come into pit road to make their final, well, hope to be their final pit stop here coming up in the next 30 to 40 laps. Well, they're in line, Wesley, staying a choo-choo lane, and this is kind of what we expect to see from these drivers. But looking at the field where they're at now, Christian Gardner as well as Kevin Martin, those are the drivers that are at the low ends of our top 12 in points. Running 15th and 17th place for the both of them. I don't see this being probably the best spot for either of them to be, especially with the competition going to be rising and wanting to have the best finishes they can late in this season. After tonight, 2 more races before the playoffs. Gotta hope for some better finishes, especially at Texas and Daytona coming up. Looking at the field currently, watching some of the battles on track that are going on. The 29, that of Robert Sherwood, and for Rob Sherwood, he's just been back here lingering behind. Currently, the first one of the cars a lap down, battling with Keenan Massey in 11th, Sherwood in 16th. This has just not been Sherwood's race. He has been off the mark since the start of this race. He's been further back, and one of those days where you kind of just have to linger around. Luckily for Sherwood, he's part of those drivers that have a massive gap. They've got about 60 plus points coming into this race. Is Robbie Helms has to come into pit road. Helms now has one more pit stop to do. Helms was one of the extreme early drivers, pitted back around lap 80, so had to make the pit stop now for the 18. I need to look around at the field. Sherwood, even though he's in 15th place, luckily he's ahead of Kevin Martin, so won't be losing too much ground to the 46.
No, I'm still here. I'm sorry. I was trying to figure out where I got a hum coming from my headset. And I know you said something about it earlier, and I just figured it out. I had the cord that I plug in for my Fox radio show Finish Line and forgot to turn it off, and it was it was buzzing. Yeah, you hear it right there, right there. It's gone now.
Nope, it's back.
And no, I got rid of it. Turned it back up again, but it's gone now. that is the network feed to do the radio show when I connect to their server. But when you're offline, you have like just a hum. So yeah.
Well, we want to apologize for the humming that might have happened. That Wesley had to show us multiple times.
Yeah, but Charles said he thought it was my brain waves. Oh my goodness. Oh.
Just humming along. Hum.
Wow.
It's Andrew Cootie. He's just got his service done and now going to be back on field as we're watching the battling for 7th.
And the music. I want the song. I'm sorry, we're negotiating contracts via text, Samuel. Me and Charles are at the same time. So I'm calling the race and I'm doing the contract negotiations.
Oh, 100%.
I want the song.
Deweese, Tatum, they're battling along. Tatum is on those much older tires, expecting the tire wear to start to equal out probably in the next 10 to 15 laps.
There they come out of that corner, out of that back straightaway, and Altus. They're Deweese. Obviously, Samuel, when you're in green, you know you've won. You know you've won the races. Does that make you race more aggressively, or does it kind of be like, nah, all right, I guess I'll let you have it tonight. You have the race.
I mean, it makes you want to try strategy calls that you wouldn't do before. So you could kind of make you get a little bit more aggressive on trying to either save fuel or just run aggressive and just show off your pure speed and pace over the rest of the field. But, looking at the guys that are up here, I mean, Jacob Grant, also for Smith, they've been going with the strategy of let's be as fast as we can, a challenge for the lead. As you see Jacob Grant running down Altus and trying his best, lost a little bit of ground, but staying within 0.3 of our leader is the 52 of Jacob Grant to Josh Altus. But for that of DeWeese and also for Ross Tatum, for Tatum for sure, Tatum's been kind of trying the different strategies out than most. DeWeese has been just sticking with his stay conservative and seeing what it's like cutting his way through traffic type of a mode here in these last couple of mile-and-a-half courses. So it's no surprise the drivers are trying something different for themselves. Once you know that you've got that safety net underneath you, if you have a poor showing, hey, it's okay. You're still making it to the playoffs. And Wesley, do you want to give note? Looks like about 20 laps ago, we did lose our pole sitter, Evan Coleman. Pulled it into the pits and just thought, you know what, we're not going to be getting a caution anytime soon. He was already 2 laps down. I'm just going to park it for the evening, which is a tough call.
Yeah, watching him here. Look at this. Yeah, she did. She got mad. She got angry in her life. And welcome to the Olympics.
Drivers trying to get by like lap traffic that of I think Andrew Cootie, who made a pit stop 5 laps ago, got fresh rubber and now getting by all the lead lap drivers is Eric Stamp as well as Braxton DeWeese. DeWeese trying to pick and choose how he's going to attack the 69 here.
Here comes Stamp on the bottom, outside. DeWeese is there. This is for third. I'm sorry, for 5th. Oh, cool. Yeah.
Negotiations still going on. That's why we're hearing Yaz.
We are slowly but surely coming to an agreement.
Expecting the next couple of drivers coming to pit road. That's going to be that of Jonathan Woods and also Ross Tatum. You could throw in Keenan Massey, Spencer Bass, Rob Sherwood, and also Christian Gardner and also Kevin Martin. Those 5 to 6 drivers going to be aiming for pit road here in the next 10 laps or so. Could be even sooner than that. And looking at the field, if we see anyone pit before lap 50, believe it's 56, if we see anyone pit before that, they are going to be in a very large question mark if they can even make it to the end of the race on this next pit stop.
Nightfall settling in here at Charlotte. Nightfall is settling in. 134 of 200 laps. And it is going to be under the lights when this race is done. There you go, cars on the pit lane. Here comes the double nickel. 55. Zach Nichols coming down to the pit lane. No, it's not. That's Chris Smith. That's Daddy Smith. Or Papa Smith, as they call him. Don't listen to Charles anymore. Hey, there's Christian Gardner, W, entering the W. If that's got that double meaning, the double U, like the letter W and W.
Yeah. Getting there, going out there. There's more drivers thinking about pit stops here shortly. And for the drivers that, like I said, that have already pitted right now, they're going to come in another time before the end of the race. Driver that stayed out there the longest, though, that we saw, Matt Dyer, currently in 12th position, and he's only gained about 2 seconds on the rest of the field. Dyer aiming to just make one more pit stop. That final pit stop should be around we made it to 110, so should be around lap 155, 56, and should be completely good to make it. Everyone else, though, they are on, they have to be in save mode coming here soon, or just be as fast and aggressive as possible.
Luis, there he is. He's up to third now. Smith behind him, along with Break Stamp. 4-car battle going on. Gotta think Samuel maybe pit one more time, maybe twice for some. What do you think?
I know for Dyer, he's good to just do one more pit stop. That's why he marched his way to lap 110. For the rest of the field, though, they might have to do 2 more pit stops. Might be 1 full pit stop and then a splash and go later on. As Kevin Martin now into pit road. Andrew Cootie had to come back into pit road for the 48. And it looks like he might have been caught speeding. As Caleb Smith being challenged, Logan Brakey in the 2, going inside into turn number 1. But a lot of these drivers, I think a lot of them have to be thinking, if they could stretch it to 156, they might be able to make it. But a lot of these drivers pitted around 102 to 108. So it's going to be a question mark on if they can make it that far. Still side by side is Logan Brake and Caleb Smith, keeping themselves in close proximity. Eric Stamp going to be lingering behind. Looking at some of the fastest drivers on track, that goes to Braxton DeWeese, currently in 3rd position. Been a complete just worker himself in 3rd place as we continue to watch the battle for 4th. Caleb Smith making that outside lane work for himself, but that means he is burning up those tires. Gotta be concerned, especially with how loose the cars have been, on how that rear right tire is looking for staying side by side as long as he had. Luckily with iRacing, they have put in a lot more grip for the drivers to run on the outside line, but still, that means you're burning up that rubber just a little bit more when you're on the outside. As we're getting closer.
Smith and Brakey there you go. Here comes Martin. I mean, by the way, Martin got caught up in the accident at the beginning of the thing, if you remember, when Woods went flying through the air. He is several laps down, by the way. We talk about what Woods is doing. He's in the top 10 in that 10 car, but the 46 of Martin, he's struggling. I believe he's coming off of a top 3 finish last week as well.
Kevin Martin certainly was having a good run last week. He's had a couple of good runs. He's shown pace under practices and the practice races that go on the day before these Wednesday night Cup Series actual points races, and always a driver in the top 5 of speed for the practices and for the runs. There's more drivers into pit road. Ross Tatum, as well as Jonathan Woods, Keenan Massey. Those are drivers that were going to have to come in. But for that of Kevin Martin, he's going to need to be a lot more consistent, especially with being one of the bubble drivers down in 11th and 12th position. Same with his teammate of that of Christian Gardner. Both those drivers needing great runs for themselves, but both struggling.
Oh my God. I was about to say, he's asking me if I've seen something. I'm like, what am I supposed to be looking at? You haven't sent me anything, Charles. All right, we're closing in on 50 laps to go. Side by side, pit stops are back underway. Could that be the money stop? Money stop for some. Could be another pit stop for others down the stretch. Here at Charlotte, we come back with more in a moment. LSRTV's coverage of your home for sim racing, the SNB Cup Series, the big one, the Coca-Cola 300 approaches its final 50 laps when we return.
Every customer, every single time, needs to get our very best. From moment one, my goal, managing a team here in the dealership, is to make sure that that customer's experience is the very best that they've ever had. We expect and demand total transparency. There should never be a time in that transaction where the customer is wondering or not quite sure of what they're buying or what they're paying or those sorts of things. And having that transparency and doing things the right way is super important.
Look how wide that deer is.
Oh my god. Oh my god. He's down. He's down.
Hold him up first, huh? Can you hold him up? Son, what do you think about that? Yo, man. Give me some skin, buddy. Excited?
After me.
Samuel,
Yes, sir.
Samuel, have you ever watched Appalachian Hauler Hunters season 1 on YouTube?
I have not seen season 1, but I've seen a couple of their promo videos on Instagram.
I got you.
And it's pit
Welcome back to
road.
coverage from Charlotte. We're coming up on 50 laps to go here in the Coca-Cola 300. 300 miles, 200 laps, the grueling big one for the SNB Cup Series on LSRTV, your home. Racing. I am Wesley Outland. We have Samuel Dyer alongside Charles Wooten in the production chair, negotiating contracts, sending videos. We don't know what they are, as well as RC car videos, as well as not super gluing his fingers so he can opt the production. Oh, he's screwing the car now. Is what it's screwing. Cars are on the pit lane. Logan Brakey is in 2. This could be the money stop for him.
Yeah, this is not the money stop for any of these guys. They pitted way too soon for them to even have a shot to make it from here on out. A lot of these drivers, they needed to stretch this thing out to around 56. That was the window. If they were going to be 156 was the window if they wanted to make it. Only driver that looks like he has a shot to get that far out would be Matt Dyer, who needs to stretch it out for another 6 laps. We've already seen him get to that bubble marker of 110. And he's trying to make sure that he could cut down a full pit stop from everyone else. And it's a tall task, but he's certainly aiming to do so. Matt Dyer, our leader.
The leader. Yep, the leader. How about that?
Jacob Grant in second place. Braxton DeWeese in third. With that, Jonathan Woods in fourth. Caleb Smith in fifth place. Ross Tatum in 6th, Joshua Altus in 7th, Eric Stamp in 8th place, Logan Brakey 9th, 10th is going to be Keenan Massey, and the driver, everyone else still needing to do one more pit stop. Dyer trying to cut his one pit stop away. But Wesley, it's been pretty much a clean green except for one caution type of a day.
Yeah, it's true. We had that big wreck, if you want to call it a big wreck, a multi-car accident off the 4th turn with Woods flying through the air. And then, okay, we could say it's a big wreck. And then, of course, Martin having problems, a couple other cars with damage. Christian Gardner, I believe, got collected in it. And since then, the only yellow flag we had was at lap number 60 whenever we came to the end of the competition caution. It is lap 60 to lap 160 coming up in another 8 laps, which means they have been on close to a 100-lap green flag run.
Yeah, and right now, Matt Dyer banking on this race to stay green. It kind of looking very similar to how last season was. Dyer banking on the race to stay green, and with just 10 laps to go, a late yellow coming out with Braxton DeWeese making contact with Jonathan Woods, and Woods getting collected with other drivers. It's certainly pandemonium went down last season. A lot of drivers thought Matt Dyer was going to get his redemption this season here at Charlotte. And also coming up to next week, Matt Dyer, he won last season. His first win was at Texas. So going to be trying to go back to back as we're inching closer and closer to the window for these drivers to know that they can make it to the end of the stretch. Dyer might be given the call that he might be coming in this time by, which this is in his window. We've seen him already push it out to around 50 laps in a stint when he was extreme safe mode. but he is now in a spot where he should be able to make it to the end from here. As the 88 into pit road, he smoked him last time, and he does it once again.
That might be all about spun entering the pit lane. Yeah, no, mama. Onto the pit lane, he squeals the tires. Oh my goodness. What?
We got the highs, we got the lows. And so- And now the rest of the field, they will march their way around, and it's the question of who is going to be able to possibly save fuel.
I said, "Whoa, mama, oh, mama." Oh my goodness. We have 46 laps to go.
That would be correct. We got ourselves coming up to, I think 45 now.
And 44. What did you say? What? They'll be golden chicken. Oh, okay. Man, I had some awesome food last night, on Monday night after Charlotte, or after we done the Stafford race for the American iRacing League. What a wild race that was. I still think, Samuel Dyer, that was probably the race of the year in my opinion.
It was a crazy one for sure. I mean, there was a lot of beating and banging drivers trying to get themselves around one another.
I'm surprised they haven't took that promo that we did together of the cars crashing and put it on a highlight reel, because that was definitely a fun. Not for Dustin Momberket and Polins and RS Center flying through the air, but it was definitely a good. It was exciting. What a race it was for the championship. Cole Quinton winning the race. Thomas Axon winning the championship, and of course Parker Retzlaff doing what he did in the trucks. But man, you could sense Parker was definitely disappointed. He wanted to sweep the summer shootout series.
Oh, it was very possible that he was going to be able to do so. It was one of those things where if you did so well in race one, got inverted in the top 8, and found himself trapped in traffic, and just kept on getting his nose rattled and shaken up. And of all the 3 drivers battling for the championship, it was Thomas Axum with his beaten and battered 13 Pink Panther car was able to win the championship in the super late models on Monday. Right now,
Samuel Charles is inviting us to Texas for dinner.
I'll be down.
What's it? Yeah,
it's gonna be some good cooking there.
We need to have an LSRTV, like a broadcaster reunion or whatnot, or all the drivers. Not a reunion. I'm sorry, not a reunion.
Yeah, meet and greet, as him
a
said.
Meet and greet might turn into a memorial, which might then turn into a reunion. Oh. Here lies him. Well, at least we are patriotic, so we'll have to play taps in his memory.
Oh man, we all met in person. That would be a wild show of just.
It would be funny as hell because we don't know what each other looks like. I mean, yeah, we've seen pictures, okay, but like, it'll be like, I know your voice, I know your voice, I know you, and I know you. And what is up with our colleague Greg Branch doing these damn hot pepper challenge videos lately? Has he lost his mind? Is he trying to make his colon fall out?
I mean, sometimes you just got to do different bets that get you in tricky spots. That's probably how this goes into pit road. But if we actually did a meet and greet, it would completely shock all of you with how tall I am. So I would be towering over all of you.
Are you tall?
Yeah.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'9".
Oh. Wow. Well, yeah, I'm a midget. Holy hell. Me? I'm 5'8", 5'9". I'm taller than you then, bitch. I mean,
whoa, forgot that we were live.
Sorry, I'm taller than you are.
Wesley's been losing it. We said before the broadcast, no contract talks. We did contract talks. There's not enough action for Wesley to keep himself engaged. He's not sure when we're live and when we're not.
So your daddy is bald-headed, or your brother is bald-headed, and you're as tall as 6'9". You're 7 feet tall.
Yeah, practically. Get the right boots on, yeah.
You play basketball?
I used to, but no.
Was you a bench warmer? You're uncoordinated?
No, just a bunch of politics came in, and I stepped away.
Good cover.
As Christian Gardner coming in. It was healthier for me and my health to not play sports anymore.
It was better for my sanity to not be involved in this madness anymore.
Exactly.
As they always say, right? Yeah.
As on screen, this is actually the battle for 5th place. You've got that Eric Stamp in 4th, Caleb Smith going to be in 5th, Ross Tatum in 6th position, with Matt Dyer trying to unlap himself currently. He's got a lot of work to do, so as Dyer is hoping this race goes green to the end, as he's the only driver been able to cut away one extra pit stop over the rest of the field. The rest of the field's going for a 5 pit stop type of a race. Dyer's trying to just make 4, but he's got to be careful as Christian Gardner almost took that whole entire chance and blew it up in one moment, but able to hold strong. Gardner is one of the drivers that just came into pit road, so you've got drivers with fresh tires coming up to those that are on 20-plus ones, almost thinking about 3 wide, and they aren't going to go 3 wide.
Oh, here we go. Got a feeling it's starting to get a little good here, man. Down the stretch they come. But it's... Oh, we got cars onto the pit lane. Who is this? This is number Spencer Best. Here comes Tatum and Woods now, 21 and 10 behind the wall. They couldn't go to the finish. Samuel, you're right. Some of these guys are going to have to pit.
Yeah, all the guys are going to be about 8 laps short from those between Dyer and the last driver to come into pit road. So it was going to be a hard battle to try to hold on fuel, but Dyer went with the fuel strategy run right after our competition caution on lap 60. He drops right to the back, decided to save fuel, and it's been working out for this 88 machine. Currently, he's still a lap down. He's not even the first car 1 lap down, which if a late caution comes out, he wants to make sure that he gets that lucky dog position.
So my question is this, Samuel. Is Matt Dyer basically dropping all the way back, waiting in hopes that all these other cars are going to pit? He'll go back on the lead lap. He'll be in the lead and possibly put himself without having to pit anymore to try to win this race and try to save his tires and fuel?
I mean, Dyer doesn't have to pit at all. Everyone else does have to make one more pit stop. And based on where they were lying before, it was Jacob Grant, who was about 13 seconds back from when Dyer had to go into pit road and make his final pit stop. So it's looking like Dyer is going to have a big enough lead to hold off the rest of the field. If this race stays green, that's the biggest thing for these drivers.
Turn 3 and 4, here they come. Back across the line. Grant is leading. DeWeese is second. Altus is third. Smith and Packard. And cars are coming to the pit lane that might not be able to go to the finish. We are thinking Matt Dyer, could possibly go to the checkered flag as he fell all the way to the back. He's conserving tires and fuel. And while that goes on, there's Packard. Good, decent run for 24, staying out of trouble. He is in the top 5.
And Caleb Smith coming into pit road, as well as Kevin Martin side by side for those drivers. And looking up the drivers that are going to be in our top 5, more of our top 6 once they all get by. Caleb Smith, I'm looking at some drivers that might be thinking about stretching as far as they can go. That would be Josh Altus and Brockton Packard. Those are the drivers that are very fine, unprobable to make it, but if they can somehow lose ground and save time, and there is a big enough gap. If you try to save fuel now, it might be a little bit too late, but if you just start slowing down, he's got to unlap himself and then try to make the pass for the lead. you've got some time if you want to try to save fuel for Altus and for Packard, because everyone else that's up front, they're going to have to pit one more time.
Grant and DeWeese, we know they're probably going to have pit. Altus as well. Packard and we know probably Massey will have come to the pit. So this will put Packard and obviously Dyer right in there with each other. And then it's a matter of conserving to see if they can go to the finish. 25 laps to go next time by when they come to the start-finish line. As again, DeWeese is now the new leader. Number 8 car. There's Dyer. There's the guy we've been kind of talking about. And honestly, there is the fact of him trying to stay on the lead lap. Well, Samuel.
Yeah, Dyer currently right now, first car on the lead lap. Also, we're going to be having Jacob Grant coming in pit road, following right behind him, Keaton Massey, both high-five drivers, making their pit stop, and Dyer is back on the lead lap with that of Jacob Grant coming in pit road, making the pass on DeWeese. So, where it's now all about having a great run for yourself from here on out, as here comes Thomas Fisher into pit road.
And now here's the thing. Dyer is on the lead lap, yes, but also DeWeese is right behind him, and he could go right back a lap down again if they can get to him.
It's highly doubtful. There is a 10-lap difference between Dyer and DeWeese, and Dyer's been running about a 10th faster than DeWeese, so I wouldn't be surprised if Dyer could just keep on pulling away, as DeWeese now into pit road, leaving us with Joshua Altus and Packard still out there on track. There might be a call for Packard to be coming into pit road here shortly.
So this strategy we're watching, we were saying that Packard and Dyer could go to the finish. Shadow Racing 24.
Oh boy, Ross Tatum pitted early, and he's now made the pass on Dyer.
Wow. Here he comes. Move him up now to what, third?
He's now going to be up to fourth, trying to get by DeWeese. We'll get by DeWeese now up to third.
He's third.
Also, Eric Stamp did a very similar strategy as Ross Tatum. He's now going to be past Dyer as well. Dyer tried his best and hoped that everyone would stretch it out as far as they could, but Dyer just could not have a big enough gap with cutting down that pit stop and how slow he was running. It's kind of backfired for the 88, but if a late caution does come out, he'll have that extra set over everyone else that I believe still might be low on a set here.
Altus out in front. Samuel, what are you thinking? You think he's got a pit? He can't go to the finish.
Packard.
What do you think?
Altus and Packard both have to come in. Ross Tatum, as Packard's coming in pit road right now. We'll wait and see if Altus is going to stretch it out as far as he can. But Ross Tatum and Eric Stamp, they are the ones that are aiming to try to take the lead and try to win this thing. They are right on top of one another as Packard into his pit box.
And your brother is right in the crosshairs of all of this.
I mean, I would say that he was. He's been passed by everyone now. Those fresher tires, it's just so much stronger.
Yeah, I think it was a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off, and I don't think it did.
It would have worked out if everyone stretched it as far as they could go, but everyone got to the window where they're like, okay, 30 laps to go. We don't need to save fuel at this marker. We'll come in, we'll catch up. So the Dyer strategy just does not work. It was a great call in theory, but as you can see here, it just did not come to fruition as more drivers coming to the pit road. Here comes Altus. Eric Stamp, he is in the lead. He is gone by Ross Tatum, expecting to see Eric Stamp try to pull away and get himself a win here.
So my question is this, Samuel. Do we see it 20 laps to go? Do we see Dyer come to the pits, or do you think he just hangs on where he's at right now? I mean,
I would imagine he'd probably just hang on because the next driver, he's going to probably fall back to 8th place. Keenan Massey is about 18 seconds back from those drivers, so most likely will fall back to around 8th place for Dyer at the end of this race by staying out, which before all this real fuel strategy was going down, that's where Dyer was running before all of the drivers threw out their strategy calls. And You know, the undercut worked out fabulously for a lot of these drivers that had to come in.
This basically just goes to show you right here that, man, tires, fast tires are so much better than used up ones, and you can definitely tell that he is in his own world right now. What a performance. Matt Dyer
battling for second place. Jacob Grant going to be making the pass for second, and now he's right on the back bumper of Eric Stamp for the lead.
Taco Bell, Ole. I had Taco Bell the other day, yesterday for lunch. I recommend the taco salad fries. What do you think, Samuel? The taco salad fries.
The fries are good. I haven't had the taco salad.
The Taco Bell salad fries. They're the salad fries. They're good. I had them yesterday. Virtual Racing Network.
Hims is wondering what BRN stands for. That's the Blitz Racing Network that my brother and I do.
That's the Blitz Racing Network, yeah.
Which we're going to be having our first race on the Blitz Racing Network, F1 2021 racing action, middle of August, Sunday
You done
nights.
created your own racing network now, Samuel. You can done got big time in our racing things. Look at this.
Hims kept on
Holy
asking,
cow.
so I want to throw it out.
Blitz Racing Network. They sponsored the All-Star race. You guys, so you were one of the masterminds of sponsoring the craziness that was the All-Star race.
We were the ones that put in money, so Braxton
Nashville.
Deweese had the feeling that he had to throw it in there and absolutely take out Ross Tatum, yes.
So that's what ticked you off, knowing that you had to give him the money. Yeah.
No. That wasn't good. No. That wasn't it at all.
Stirring the pot.
No, honestly, everyone for that All-Star race was talking about we're going to wreck someone for the win, and whoever the leader was, you were in the worst spot. And sadly, it was Ross Tatum for that night.
By the way, 15 laps to go.
Jacob Grant just pulling away 2 seconds. I think at this point, for anyone to beat Jacob, they're going to need a caution badly. Braxton Deweese, who's in 5th position, he's 3.2 seconds back. If anyone's going to catch up to Jacob, it's going to be Deweese, and he's going to be the man to watch out for. But there's just a 2-lap difference in pacing and freshness for those drivers. Going to be very tough for Deweese because he's got a lot of lap traffic to get by. Also has to figure out how to get by Ross Tatum. He gets to the inside of the 21. They go into turn number 1. Easily making the pass. Braxton Deweese. Next target going to be Eric Stamp, who he's right on the back bumper of. And then it's a little bit under 3 seconds. Braxton needs to try to run down and catch up to Jacob Grant, which, based off the times that we're seeing, the differential, it's about a tenth to almost 2/10 is the difference between the 52 and the 8. I don't think there's enough time with even at the pace that we're seeing Deweese go. I think he's going to come up about a second to about 6/10 short of getting by that of Jacob Grant with the way that these tires are going to fall off the longer the run goes on, as it's 13 laps to go. Jacob Grant trying to get his second win of the season, as Braxton Deweese trying to get win number 6 of the season.
Jacob Grant, most recent win at Indianapolis. We were unable to broadcast that. Technical difficulties on not LSRTV's part, another network. Charles had a family emergency, and we had to bring in someone else to cover for us, and it did not go well. And unfortunately, it was Jake Grant that picked up the win. Deweese is in second. Does he got enough time, Samuel, to close in on Jacob?
I just don't
for
see
another
it.
win. What is that, win 7 of the year if he wins? 6?
I mean, it would be 6 of the points races. I believe 7 counting
7
the
to count the
All-Star race.
All-Star race. That's what I'm counting in my head.
Jacob Grant, I mean, the way that he won Indy, as I watched that race, I know he didn't broadcast it, but it was all about fuel and tire strategies, exactly what we saw here at Charlotte. And this is kind of exactly how he won last time, just seeing other drivers trying odd strategies out while he's stuck with the, I'm going to pit once I are coming close to running out of fuel, not try to stretch it any further than that. And it's worked out fabulously for the 52. Braxton DeWeese, he kind of did a half strategy. At first, he was running pretty similar to what Dyer was trying to do in those first, after our competition caution, coming up to that first pit stop around lap 100. DeWeese was trying to stretch it out as far as he could. It just didn't work out for the 8, and then he had to make a twist and a shift to pit sooner to try to catch up with everyone else, and now he's here in second, 3 seconds back, but he's not gaining ground as Jacob Grant continues to try to pull away. And for certain, we already knew he was locked in, but it's got to feel nice getting these wins as we get inch closer and closer to playoff time.
Grant, Luis, there we go, off of that corner. Out of turn number 4. 10 remaining, under 10 to go here at Charlotte. Texas next week, then it's Tona, and then playoffs. Don't talk about playoffs, but guess what? It is the playoffs. Yeah, Samuel, playoffs.
Playoffs. I think everyone's a little nervous about playoffs, as the consistency that we've been seeing from DeWeese, Tatum, also Grant. I mean, those drivers, they are hoping that they can continue that momentum into the playoffs. But when you get to that round-based playoffs, just one slip up at one race, you can find yourself not being knocked out of that round and knocked out of the playoffs. So much stressfulness comes in as the laps continue to tick away. 7 to go for Jacob Grant.
Grant is leading while Charles is discussing business that, M's were working. Grant, Luis, Stamp. Oh, Gardner in the wall.
Oh, Gardner's coming down.
Oh,
and that's going to take out Eric Stamp. And we stay green. No yellow comes. Even though Stamp goes sliding to the inside, no yellow waves. We continue to stay green. Oh my goodness.
Was that intentional?
I mean, it's coming out of the corner. Drivers trying their best. That was a risky call. Drivers obviously frustrated over the radio.
We haven't had a lot of replays tonight, especially since the start of things. So let's take a look at that Pulse Popper instant replay and look at what happened between these cars. We got to make it quick because we are 5 laps to go, but watch this. Oh my goodness. What in the world? Stamp and Garner lap car in the way of the lead cars, and that's what's so frustrating about this situation, Samuel.
Yeah, and Christian Gardner's just trying his best to hold on and stay close to the lead lap drivers, and at this moment, leading the race, just get out of the way. You're not really fighting for much. He's already was one of the last of the cars a lap down, but costly to some of the drivers that were battling for such a good run. Eric Stamp trying to get a top 3 finish. Yeah, that goes up in smoke. Jonathan Woods almost involved in a late race caution again here at Charlotte, able to avoid the sliding Eric Stamp. But 5 laps to go. Why not throw out some drama for the field as Jacob Grant continues to pull away?
Under 5 to go. 4 to go now, with Grant leading. Shout out to Tight End Loose Off podcast on YouTube. Tyler Stooksbury proudly being represented. Jacob Grant looking to get his 2nd win of the SNB Cup Series in Season 3 with 3 to go. He's coming to the bullhorns up. 2 to go this time by at Charlotte. Can he hold on?
Back for 9th place. They're 3 wide through turns 1 and 2. They're still 3 wide back there. For 8th place, they are mad dashing. It's Dyer, Brock Packard, as well as Keenan Massey, as we're also watching the battle for 3rd place.
That's Altus and Tatum. I wish we could show that 3-car battle, because that's honestly the best battle on the racetrack. But we're also coming down the back straightaway. Grant's getting ready to send it off of turn 4. He is coming to the line, and it will be the CRN 1 to go. Final lap in the Coca-Cola 300 at Charlotte, and it is Jacob Grant out in front. The rest of the field crossing the stripe now. More details at wearecrn.com, and announced earlier this afternoon. Tomorrow, the Greater News Conference 4A press conference meetings with all of the coaches of the Carolinas. We'll have it tomorrow at 5:45 Eastern on CRN. And with that being said, Jacob Grant Samuel will come to the line. Second win of the year. He will win the Coca-Cola 300. The big one goes to the driver of car 52.
Pillsbury gets the win on LSRTV. Jacob Grant, second win of the season. Congratulations to that 52 High Five Racing team. Also get to win 1 and 2 with Braxton Deweese in second place. And Altus, late, 3 laps to go, finally makes the pass on Ross Tatum for third. Top 3, those are some very hot, I mean, our entire top 4, those are drivers that we could be seeing battling for the championship in our final 4 in playoff time.
For certain. For certain, definitely. Wow, look at this. And the celebration now with Grant and Altus. All these guys getting together. Lighting them up at Victory Lane. And Samuel, only 2 caution flags in this race. 1 caution for obviously the Titian caution on lap 60. And other than that, a caution on lap number 2. Wow.
Yeah, it has been incredible to watch these drivers. Longest race of the season for these guys, and they kept it mostly green. And congratulations to Jacob Grant.
Burning it down for Pillsbury at Charlotte for the 2nd time this year. And we're going to take a look at the sawblade.com unofficial results here at Charlotte. There they are. The SNB Cup Series. Penultimate race of the season, of the regular season, next week at Texas. Daytona, the final race, and then it's on to the playoffs here. Jacob Grant wins 2.5 seconds back to Braxton Deweese, who was looking for win points race, win 6 and 7 in total. He has to settle for second. Joshua Altus, a good day on the podium. He'll settle for third, 7 seconds back. Ross Tatum, fourth. Jonathan Woods, what a way to come back from one of the cars flying through the air in the big wreck on the opening laps. He'll finish fifth. Logan Brakey, sixth. Eric Stamp, seventh. Brockton Packard, Keenan Massey, Matt Dyer. The strategy your brother had, Samuel, just did not pay off. And the Blitz Racing Network number 88 has to settle for 10.
In 11th, first car 1 lap down, going to be that of Thomas Fisher with Caleb Smith in 12th. 13th, going to be Robbie Helms with that of Robert Sherwood. Going to get 14th. Christian Gardner, 15th. Kevin Martin in 16th position. Spencer Best. Pop Smith going to be getting 18th place. And those that could not finish with DNFs, Andrew Cootie with, as well as Evan Coleman. And the final rest of the drivers, Rager, as well as Zach Peterson.
We will grab a quick break. When we return, we will talk to the winner, and that is the driver of Mr. Jacob Grantsbury gets it done in Charlotte. Quick break, back with more in a moment. LSRTV coverage of the SNB Cup Series. Welcome back to coverage of the SNB Cup Series. The big one, the Coca-Cola 300, is in the books. And Pillsbury, Jacob Grant will celebrate winning at Indianapolis. And here at Charlotte, in the big one here at America's Home for Racing for the next to last 2 races before the playoffs. And we'll talk in just a moment. But first, third place, Season 1 champion, trying to get in by points, it looks like, unless he can win either Texas or a race he's won at before, Daytona. Most recent win was at Daytona for Joshua Altus. Joshua, third place, man, your take of the long one, the comfortable one, and what some people will say a very surprising race. It did not turn out the way I thought it would. A very clean race at Charlotte. You finished third on the podium.
Yeah, thanks, Wesley. We had a rocket ship of a car. I'm just disappointed, man. I'm tired of not winning. That's why we come up and race each week. So I know it's kind of hard to be disappointed with a podium finish, but definitely, I miss winning, miss getting to victory lane. I thought tonight was a really good opportunity. Car was so fast, and Grant and DeWeese, I mean, we were probably all pretty equal, and they came in and undercut me. I think the next to last stop, which is when I lost the lead, and from that point on, my strategy was just going to try to stay out kind of as long as I could to try to get as many laps in between their stop and my stop as possible, try to utilize my tires, but they were just too good. At that point, the tire fall off wasn't enough for me to catch them.
Well, it was one of those deals where definitely a clean race, and you had some high hopes. Definitely at one point in the race, you had really a strong race car. The strategy of finishing third, was there, do you feel like not having caution flags hurt the race and you not being able to try to win the thing? What do you think?
I don't think so. I mean, I think at the end of the day, they played the better strategy than I did. It's so tough because it's already hard to pass with these cars kind of once you get in the middle of a run. So, being the leader and having that fresh air is a huge benefit. And, it was getting to the point where it was just kind of a cat and mouse game, who was going to come in on what lap, because it's just so difficult because, you can undercut the strategy and you gain a bunch of time, but then obviously your tires are going to be the oldest tires at that point. So it's just kind of a cat and mouse game at that point. And unfortunately, we just ended up on the wrong end of it. But as always, I'm very proud of the speed we're bringing, especially after last week. Had a really rough week at Sonoma. So I guess if there's any, consolation, we had another good points day, and hopefully we'll jump up a couple positions in the regular season standings.
How do you feel moving into the postseason? Can we see you try to win Texas or Daytona? Is the pressure on now to try to take more chances and do things as we are down to the home stretch? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm going to go win Texas next week. I mean, that's all it is to it. I've run solid. I've run well. I won at Texas and ARL. I'm sure Grant is going to be up there again, along with DeWeese. They're two of the best guys in the series. Jacob and I had a heck of a battle at Texas last year, so it'd be cool if we can duplicate that and have a different result.
All right, bud. Before I let you go, thank your sponsors.
Yeah, got to thank. Well, first, I just want to thank all the men and women in our military. I know it's not Memorial Day or anything, but this is kind of our memorial race, so to say. So,
no, for sure.
Really enjoyed having the patriotic red, white, and blue scheme on there. I actually created that scheme myself, so I was kind of proud of that. Just shout out to all the men and women. Thank you guys at LSRTV. You guys have been on the car, pretty much all year. And thank you to Christian Gardner, Appalachian Hollow Hunters, everyone that supports this series. And I just want to say congrats to Jacob Grant getting another dub. And we'll see you guys next week.
All right, buddy, for sure. There you go. There's the thoughts of the driver of Joshua Altus, and he will settle for the podium in third place here tonight. Second place, Braxton DeWeese, number 8, looking for his 7th win, 6 points win of the season, as well as an all-star race winner, but he will finish second. Braxton, same thing on strategy, 2 long green flag runs. Thought there'd be a lot of cautions. Race definitely not the way you thought it would be, and you are second, though.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty I felt like it was a pretty quiet race for me, just riding along. Yeah, it was a lot cleaner at the end there than I expected. I think it was a lot cleaner than we all expected. But that's how races go sometimes. But I mean, it's honestly a good thing that it goes green. It shows that we all were doing our thing and doing what we were supposed to do by keeping it on track and not touching any other cars in that time span. So overall, it was a good race. I was pretty close with Jacob on strategy. It just, I don't know. It was close. We both had close cars. I feel like if I was closer to him when I came off pit road, then I would have been a better chance. But at the same time, it still was really close. So good win to him. He had a good run. We both had a good run here for the team points for one and two. So that does good for the team points. Does good for him with the win. We both got really good points. Overall, good night.
Yeah, one time I asked this question, and I'll ask it to you. I know I said it one time in a comment with me and Samuel in the broadcast booth. When you are a winner of these races, obviously, especially with you and the sheer domination you've had this year, does it make you drive differently knowing that you've got guys that are around you that, okay, they're hungry for a win, they want to win, they want to go to the playoffs? Or is the mindset, hey, look, I'm going to do anything I can to win? In one of your times this year, you made the comment, I want to see how many points wins I can win before the playoffs.
Yeah, all of our goals coming out each week is wanting to win. So, the more you can win, the better it sets you up points-wise heading into the playoffs and for the regular season championship. So, I mean, if you win the regular season championship, I want to say you get extra points for that, and that just helps you for the playoffs. So all the points we can get for the playoffs, it's going to be great, because if we have, say, 2 bad races and then we would have to win if we didn't have the points going off to a cutoff race, we wouldn't have to worry about that. So that's what I'm trying to do, but we'll see what we can do in the I want to say 2 races we got left in before the playoffs.
And we're talking again with the driver of Braxton DeWeese, and pretty much suffice to say, he is the number 1 seed going in to obviously the final races. And as we move into the championship, he will be the guy that I believe everybody is going to be gunning for. Braxton, final take of the thing. What do you think we're going to see these next 2 races in closing? And also, thank your sponsors, but where do you feel we're going to witness at Texas and Daytona for a lot of pressure on a lot of guys trying to get to the playoffs?
Texas, I feel like you'll see a lot of what you saw here tonight. I feel like fuel strategy will really take a big part into that. So being able to stay up front and manage your fuel is going to be very key. Obviously, no mistakes will also very much really help you move up the ladder in positions. But Daytona is going to be a lot more crazier. I feel like there's going to be a couple big ones. I mean, we all have our fast repair, so we all wad up. We still have a fast repair, so it just depends on the people that are wanting to try to get in and how aggressive they're wanting to be, that don't have that win or just on the edge. Don't want to have to worry about points. So it's going to be really interesting. Like I said, I feel like there's going to be a couple big wrecks, but time will tell.
All right, buddy. Thanks, man. I want you to thank your sponsor. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I want to thank supporters tuning in to support me and watch all the races I do. I also want to thank GP Diecast for coming on board. He's coming on board for this race and the next 2 races before the playoffs. If you guys want any net like diecast 164 and 124 scale, you can go to him. He'll get you situated real nice. But I also want to thank the rest of the sponsors: Zimmerman Concrete, Ron's Pizza, Bennett's Publical, Riverwood Enterprise, Scott Martin at Jeff Schmidt, NASCAR Technical Institute, Blaze Designs, you guys, High Five Racing, Rapid Roofing, Rapid Response Extreme Home Solutions, Rapid Heating and Air. I want to thank all the supporters. They really contribute, and I really do appreciate it. On to Texas next week.
Sounds like it is going to be a wild one down to the wire for sure. Thank you so much. Braxton of the Weeks again, man, that's pretty much dominated all season long in the SNB Cup Series. And down to the final races before the playoffs, he will settle for the number 2 position here tonight. In the big one, the long one, the Coca-Cola 300. To victory lane we go. Winner in Indianapolis, and now at Charlotte in what was a very quiet race, 6 or 7 different leaders amongst the 300-mile, 200-lap contest. Matter of fact, all the guys that are on the podium had led at one time or another. But when it's all said and done, Jacob Grant, win number 2. And, you know, if there was ever any doubt about not making the playoffs, you can kiss that goodbye now, bud. You definitely are going to be running for a chance at a championship.
And that's exactly what the goal is the championship. Here at Charlotte, man, we started with a end of line penalty from last week. I did some dumb stuff after the race and ended up costing me at the beginning of this race, which obviously it didn't affect me too much. I know I was joking with Josh and a couple of the other admins in the league last season. Whenever they told me I was going to get the penalty, I kind of had my Kyle Busch moment of the day, and it's fine. I'll end up front anyway. I'm not worried about it. So then they all started calling me Kyle Busch and stuff, and here we are. I kept my promise, kept my word, got up front. They're following Josh for at least 30 laps. It was difficult. I couldn't suck up to him. I couldn't get around him. I couldn't do anything. The aero push was really, really tight. Almost got the wall multiple times this race, and it was a fun race though.
Well, I will say this much, man. Charlotte compared to Indy, did this race mean a lot more to you? I know it's the longest race on the schedule, but did you go into this race thinking that it was going to be the turnout of the way that it turned out to be? I mean, what was the strategy and the way things went for you to win in the car 52 tonight?
Go out and get another win. Get some more playoff points. That's my strategy for the rest of the season until the playoffs start. I'm gonna go try to win again next week, and I'm gonna go try to win the Daytona again, and get closer to Braxton and the wins on the season. Right now he's got 3 over me, so I need to get these next 2 back before the playoffs start, so I can get a little bit closer in points to him. But coming into the race, I figured I would end up getting some unlucky events and get caught up in a wreck or something, but it all fell into my lap, honestly. But yeah, here at Charlotte is my home track. I live 2 minutes away from the track. I can walk there if I wanted to, and I've always wanted to come into a league and win here, and I finally done it, so it means a lot to me.
Hey, you know, Jacob, I didn't realize you live so close to Charlotte, man. I'm always in Charlotte. Hell, I was in Charlotte yesterday. We need to get together and do some lunch or something. You might be one of the only guys that are close to the area. Well, Altus, he lives in Winston-Salem. You know, he's supposed to take me out to Olive Garden, and I'm still waiting for that, by the way. But hey, no, man, congratulations on your win. And before I let you go, thank your sponsors, Jacob. Good job. And again, it's on to the playoffs, whatever happens from Texas to Daytona for you.
Yeah, first off, I'd love to thank Tight End Lusaw for always being on the car. He's an amazing guy. He makes great content on YouTube. If you're not subscribed, please go and subscribe to him. Even if you don't like NASCAR, just listening to the man talk, and he really knows his stuff. He does a lot of research. It'll blow your mind. Blaze Designs for making the paint scheme, Wickedly Boosted, AZ Wire and Cable, Pillsbury, Fanatec, Jordan, High Five Racing for letting me drive the number 52 for them again this year. It's been one great season for me so far. I think I've led the most laps in the league, and now I got 2 wins. It's a huge improvement from last season, so I'm really happy about that. I'd like to thank everybody who's constantly supporting me, all my friends, Garrett, Caleb Smith. He races with me, but he's also a really good supporter. And also a happy birthday to him. Today's his 21st birthday, so I'm gonna take him out to get some alcohol here in a little bit. So
there you go. Yeah.
I'd like to thank my girlfriend as well. She watches every single race, and if I finish second, she's upset. So she likes to see me win, and if I don't win, she gets upset. I'd like to thank my second mom, Yolanda. she's a big supporter as well. Chris Smith, he races in the league. He's a really big supporter. And all the guys watching that I work with, appreciate you guys for coming out watching and cheering me on.
All right, buddy. Thank you very much. Again, it's Jacob Grant, Pillsbury. He has punched his ticket into the playoffs again with his second win of the year, Indianapolis and now at Charlotte. Samuel Dyer had to step away. He covered for me when I had to work on my logistics for my broadcast travel for this weekend at Livonia and Tacoma, Georgia. So getting my hotels and stuff done. So I told him I'd cover the interviews. And we appreciate you for joining us for coverage, as always, at LSRTV and LiveSimRacing.com. For more information, our next broadcast will be on Friday night. And that is the continuation of the playoffs for the LTAC Cup League, the LTAC Cup Series. Again, that should be a great race. Looking forward to it. I believe they are at the Las Vegas Motor Speedway, if I remember correctly, on Friday. But anyhow, for Rocket Media and Jeff Staff, now for Charles Wooten in the production chair, for Samuel Dyer, I'm Wesley Outland. Congratulations to, again, his second win on the year, Jacob Grant. Continue to follow us always at SNB Cup Series on Facebook, and we thank you for watching. Be good to one another. Enjoy the rest of your week.